It is good. It's a limited edition flavor. I've never had it before. The pink grapefruit electrolytes.
He always has the weirdest shit. He's always traveling with like weird stuff, like Pepto-Bismol and fucking 1,000 Advils. He's always got something.
I feel like that's just like turning 30 things.
Yeah, I was going to say, ever since I hit like 35, I have to have some Pepto. With
I don't even
travels.
know what Pepto does.
It takes care of indigestion, diarrhea, nausea. It's basically the fix-all. And actually, if you go back and you watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think the first one, it was the secret ingredient into making sure that the ooze actually worked to turn animals into mutant killers.
It does make sense of why you'd be taking it then.
Maybe the opposite. Maybe it was the antidote to fix the mutant animal killers.
Yeah, so it might be the antidote.
Yeah,
It'd be
I think it was the
bad
antidote.
advertisement if it was the one that did turn you into it.
That's a good point. I didn't actually, that's the thing. I never thought as a kid that the product placement of Pepto-Bismol was probably a marketing shit.
Why is it even in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Probably
I don't want
marketing.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad. That,
You have to watch the movie.
Done. But it really did get the whole generation hooked on pizza because pizza wasn't big before that. So how could you do it otherwise? Look, we've been struggling to do some podcasts. When was the last one we did? It was before,
2 weeks ago.
It was a while ago. It's a long time ago.
It was in Dallas.
It's a long time ago. We were at yours. We were going to do one with Alex, but then we enjoyed not doing a podcast, so we didn't do a podcast.
I really did enjoy that.
And then we came here, and it's been pretty non-stop.
Yeah, busy first few days. Very busy first few days.
So now we're taking some time, and what we thought we'd do is we'd grab a man crushed by the day, and get him on the microphone immediately to talk about the failures of North American Counter-Strike, because it can't always be Jason. And you're not even North American.
No, I'm British, so
you don't even really care.
No.
You're British and you live in Denmark and you're managing an American team.
Yep, that's me.
So for people who aren't familiar, can you give them a double thumbs up? That might help you identify yourself to the people.
You guys have made the double thumbs up thing up.
Yeah.
And inexplicable to me how this became a thing.
You're a character in our life, especially when me, Henry, and Alex were doing the online stuff back in like 2020, 2021 when we were in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we would always refer to Graham because he was the authority figure. You know that, Jason.
Yeah, I do know that.
So if Graham gives a double thumbs up, you can't get better than a double thumbs up. You only got two thumbs. So that's why a Graham Pitt double thumbs up is so important.
Legit.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm feeling double thumbs down. So,
Well, yeah, no, but look,
does it make you miss your time as a tournament operator, as the head honcho of running the entire event?
I think things have changed a lot. Like back when I used to do it, I ran a fucking 16-team major with 2 people. Now they have like fucking 10 admins.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the job has gotten a lot easier now.
Shots fired.
Like I'm just gonna say that. No, but that's a good thing. Like the conditions needed to improve. It just needed to take like enough people to finally push it far enough. So I think like going back to that now would be a lot more comfortable for me than it was then. But back then, I think it was just way too stressful. Like I feel like
paid less back then as well,
bro. I don't want to talk about how little I was getting paid back in like 2013 and stuff like that.
I learned it from a machine. It's like the ear-source salary where you were trying to work out if you could either afford coach or food, and it had to be one of the two. It couldn't be both.
So back when I was with ESL, I used to go to as many events as possible because they gave us like a daily stipend, and that daily stipend, I'd add it up, I'd save the money. And then that would be like how I like got myself like a nice treat or something. Like,
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's come. I know that I don't know if they still do this, but it changed a lot because a lot of events started getting done in Denmark, and everyone loved going to the Denmark events because of like the scale. Things are more expensive in Denmark, so they got more money when they went to a country like Denmark, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that was pretty nice for people in recent times. I don't know what it's like now. I have to check in with Rushley, who's probably asleep right now, the poor little guy.
He's probably passed out.
He's had a tough year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's really been working hard.
He's had a tough year. Look, I don't really want to just talk about the downfall of North American Counter-Strike, even though it's one of my favorite topics.
Yeah,
we can talk about it.
Yeah, well, look, here's one thing I'll say. I think the community undervalued Hallzerk.
I think everyone's been undervaluing him for a long time. Like I remember, like there was a period of time, like he was having a bit of a rough time, but don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, he punches his leg a lot, and that makes me sad.
No, I mean, I wasn't talking about that time. Like I'm saying, like there was because he was still performing at that point. Like he was still doing okay. Like there was a period of time where he wasn't having like his best time, and I'd say he's still like a top 15 AWPer. Like he can easily be like a top 10 AWPer, probably pushing closer to top 5. On his day. And I think that like people were like, oh, they re-signed him. I was like, yeah, of course we fucking re-signed him. Like there's literally like there's no one better that we can realistically get. Like we're not going to get Monozy or Zywoo. So like who do you think we're going to get? So, I think when the time came around to re-signing him, it made a lot of sense.
How long ago was that?
We re-signed him Dallas last year.
Okay.
So essentially
how long
a
did you
year
re-sign
ago.
him for?
Technically, he has a very long contract.
Okay.
Technically.
So once
But technically, it could also be a very short contract.
Once this P1 visa goes through,
yes,
it's going to stick for a long fucking time.
Okay, so it's contingent on the visa?
It's not contingent on the visa, but like when we wanted to make sure that once we get that stamp in his visa, it lasts a long fucking time because we don't want to go through this again.
Yeah.
Well, this is a saga that's been going on like 2 years, I feel like.
Did you have to do it every year? Or
No,
what
so he got his. So when we first signed him, we applied for his visa, and that process took some time, and then he required the additional paperwork, which he requires again this time. Like, we're in the same process as we were last time. Like, this is not unexpected for us, and we're still technically within what we would say is the expected time frame. We hoped it would come earlier because this is the second time he's gone through and everything else. So like we hoped, but like even going back, like he had a visa rejected back in 2020 when he was with Dignitas, which is part of the problem, and part of the issue is like he has to go through a bit of extra verification and stuff like that. But we're still well within what I'd say is the normal time frame for what we have applied for in his circumstances. And so we applied for his first visa back in 2022. He got it in like August 2023, and he played the Atlanta event that year. He played some qualifiers from our office. He played Dallas the following year. Like, he's been to North America. He's had a visa. He's had a P1 visa, but then his visa stamp expires when his contract expired. So when we re-signed the new contract, we had to reapply for the new visa.
Of course.
And that's why we were like, hey, let's make sure that the contract is, goes into the future. So we'd have to go through this process again because we knew it was going to take this much time.
Right.
So, I mean, arguably we could have done it earlier, but the problem was we were traveling so much, he had no time to go back to the embassy and actually give up his passport and get it done.
How long is he grounded for when through this process in terms of getting into the States?
So I think he did his interview for his visa was in it was right after we got back from Shanghai. We exited Shanghai like first week of December. So
so this is late last year.
You were actually on top of your shit.
So once we obviously signed the contract, we then have to build up the application, set up the application. That took a few weeks and everything, and then you get a response, and then you can go get your interview done. But at that point, it was like Pro League, it was Rio, it was China, getting the Chinese visa, like all these things were stacking up. And then at the point where he got the okay to go for his interview, we then had to book the interview. That took a few weeks because we didn't know if we were going to come back from China and all this other stuff. Because we went to China, or we went to our boot camp and then went to China on the 5th of November.
Yeah, it was a long time.
So everything was really, really stacked up. So I think we could have maybe done the interview a month earlier if we hadn't had events or things to go to. But we basically did the interview. He just kept checking the website and looked for like openings. And then as soon as we got knocked out, he's like, cool. I think he booked it on like the 12th of December or something like that. It was quite early on. And then they said 6 to 8 months. And right now we're basically dead on 6 months. So I would like to think, I mean, should clarify. Obviously that was technically under the Biden administration at that point in December. Obviously, with Trump coming in, I don't know if they've completely slashed all the departments that are working on this. In theory, we are just in a queue. And as soon as we reach the top of that queue, they'll process his application. He'll get the documentation he needs, and then he just goes to the embassy.
You're just in government bureaucracy limbo with no ability to get an update or know where things are.
Pretty much,
Jason, as an avid Trump supporter, do you feel responsible at all for Hallzerk not being able to enter the country at this point?
I do feel a little bit responsible, indeed. And it pains me because it could have been a great piece to have for the Complexity organization. I'd like to apologize to you straight up, Grant. I'm sorry.
I went to his house. You should see it. There's just Trump signs in the lawn.
Paraphernalia everywhere.
He got a smashed window in the room I was sleeping in, and it's just a Trump sign. So I woke up every morning just looking at Trump.
That was a Biden voter. Threw a brick through the window.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's crazy though because he had a picture of Trump next to Elon, and once you get home, you're gonna have to tear that down. Jason.
But which one?
I think Jason
I might leave them both up. I might just tear it in half.
Okay.
And, just have the pieces on each side.
Fair enough. They might rekindle one day. Their powers could.
And that's
be
why you want to
combined
keep
once
it for the
more.
tape.
Yeah.
Do you prefer white trash mullet Hallzerk, or do you prefer preppy?
He called himself businessman.
Preppy business Hallzerk. Is there a personality change that went along with the haircuts?
So, I wouldn't say there was a personality change. I think there was a bit of a mentality change actually with him. I think that around about that same time, which was also just before the really, you remember that he had that really ragey 2 weeks. It was like a blast group stage, and then Cologne, and he was just slamming everything. He went through a bit more of a let's say a total makeover in a sense. Like he was really trying to like cut down on like eating unhealthily. He was really trying to make a lot of improvements in his personal life.
Okay.
And I think the general stress of all that was like really getting to him, along with the in-game stuff, and he was just venting. But like I mean, along with the businessman changeover, which came around about the same time, a bit earlier than that, I think he's been working a lot more on himself to try and be healthier in lots of different ways, and something that we encourage, obviously. And yeah, he had a rough few weeks once, sure. But since then, I think he's calmed down a lot more, and he's managing it. So yeah, it's I'd say I like the mentality he has now. Like he's focusing a lot more on trying to be like a better person rather than just like a Counter-Strike player who does what he wants to do.
I think if you talk to most of the players who have been around for a long time, I think they would all probably tell you too, like there's a certain level of improvement you get as a player when like you're improving yourself as a person.
Sure.
That's like a weird, like a mentality that I've just heard a lot of them talk about over the years as they've gotten older.
It's just generally in life, I reckon.
Yeah. But it's just one of those lessons you don't learn until like you get old.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as a kid, you kind of take it off.
Right.
But he's like 24. He's doing a good job.
He's very young.
24 is pretty young to make those kind of decisions. But yeah.
He didn't look that young with the mullet. I'll say that.
No, he didn't look that young with the mullet.
He didn't look that young with the mullet.
He always used to say, like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And
that's not a life motto. That sounds like, what was the golf?
No, I love it, dude. That's so trash America.
The thing is, he loves America. He loves being here. Like, yeah. I mean, like when he's hearing like the food he can order and stuff, like he's
Well, dude, help him with the health choices.
It's so funny.
He hasn't been back since that happened.
Okay, well, there you go. Jeez.
It's funny. All through the event, all the Europeans are just running around being like, "Have you guys had this American catering? It's incredible. It's fucking crazy good." Everyone just loves American catering.
Well,
for good
the
reason.
catering here, it's just it's basic to the sense of it's like protein and then a rice. Right?
Yes,
that's it.
It's a lot better than other places we've been to. I will say that. But
sure.
but like the standard for esports catering is so fucking low.
I know, it really
like,
is. Yeah.
Just getting edible food is like, whoa, holy shit, and it's got spices and flavoring.
Yeah,
they actually use salt and pepper. I can't believe it.
That's wild.
I even saw like some little like bits of parsley and things. Like, really pushing the boat out.
So look, obviously this event for you guys coming in with a stand and a junior, what was the realistic expectation?
Expectation is a tough word because, like, again, you come to the major, like, there are no, it's not easy to have expectations, I think, because everyone's coming in, hot. And I think we would have liked to have played like one more event before we came in, just to get like a barometer of where we were at. With junior? Okay. Yeah. Like, I would have loved to have gone to like Dallas or Astana. Just have like one event with him where we can just like get a decent idea of where we're at. Because like just playing scrims and scrims and scrims, like obviously the first few weeks we were just playing NA teams, and then when the Dallas team started arriving, things really started cracking up. We played a lot of FaZe, a lot of Falcons. I think we played some of the other teams in Dallas as well, and there was a few teams who stayed, and a few teams who arrived quite early. Like the Chinese guys arrived quite early. Lin Vision, I think.
FlyQuest were here in LA for a while as well, I think.
I don't think we scrimmed FlyQuest before this event, but we scrimmed a lot of good teams. Like in like the 2 weeks from like Dallas and then the break week, we played like basically exclusively like major level teams. So like we were happy with the practice, and things were going generally quite well. So like, we felt pretty good, but like we knew we weren't going to be world beaters, like because it's not possible. Like again, like it's not that I don't rate Junior highly, but I rate Hallzerk so highly.
No, I agree. That's the thing. I think the general community undervalued Hallzerk. I don't think that they overvalued Junior. I think they just undervalued how good Hallzerk is. Because look, Grim's been great, but Hallzerk imposes himself on matches. Like the level that he's able to like insert himself into moments and be able to like win rounds with a kill or two. He's one of the best AWPers at doing that at the moment, especially for the team that he finds himself in, right? So, and he has to deliver in that way. So for Junior, who I look at as a bit more passive than a Hallzerk, I would say. Yeah,
a little bit more passive, yeah.
Well, also, I think if you come in as a stand-in too, on some level, you're like, you have in your mind, like, don't fuck shit up for them.
Yeah, but you got to swing for the fences.
Yeah.
You can't be a conservative.
You
know that.
Yeah, I do.
but there's also a certain level of like chemistry you build up.
Yes, exactly.
Like if you're the guy playing a site with Junior and then he doesn't react the same way the Hallzerk reacts. It gives that extra second of like shit, things aren't going exactly as Hallzerk would pull back and go this way, and he's gone back the other way, and there's little bits of chemistry that you just won't be able to build up over 3 weeks.
Was Junior the logical pick because he'd played with some of the guys before in previous teams, or was it just kind of like he's the best available opera in the Americas?
He was the best available opera we had. I'm going to be honest, like he wasn't the first choice, and I explored a lot of different options. I tried to, we had some money available to get a player, and I tried to get like genuine like top level players. Tried to loan them off teams that didn't qualify to the major, let's say, which there are a few that have some high quality.
You tried to get Device, didn't you?
I tried to get some high quality players. And yeah, either teams were unwilling, players were unwilling, or teams were putting prices that weren't
ridiculous.
They were
so
unrealistic.
we generally tried to get some really good quality players, like try and make the best of it and actually like give it the best go we could. But yeah, between the teams and the players sort of being unwilling and the money not being right or whatever it was, when we looked at the options we had and the sort of situation we were in, Junior presented probably the best option for us to keep going and like have really good team spirit. He fits in really well. Like socially, he's fantastic with us. Like he gels really well. And one thing that we have been trying to work on a lot this year has been like the team environment and trying to really like make sure that we're having a good time and nobody's feeling like they don't want to be there. So he fit in really well. We knew we were going to get good chemistry with him, and like he can hit his shots and he can be impactful. I think he for 3 weeks he deserves another shot to have a go, and I think he played really well. Actually, I don't actually put any of the blame really onto him. I think he played well for the situation he came into. I think, to be honest, more of the blame relies on the players who we have as the permanent members in terms of like how badly we played as a team. I think it was more based on the players that are going to be around with us in the future rather than the stand-in impact, so to speak.
All right.
And I'll say the same for Adrian. I think Adrian, I was really impressed with him these past few weeks. I think he was a really good fit for us.
We snatched him after the Nouns thing collapsed, no? Like it's just temporary?
Yeah, I think he technically left the Nouns project before. Like I think the players were getting paid a little bit by like some of them, but not by the Nouns. What the fuck is called DAO, but like by like some of the people associated with Nouns. I think they were getting a small temporary salary, but Adrian wasn't, I don't think. So he was like kind of on the edge anyway. And I think when they didn't qualify for the major, he was like, okay, I'm done with the project now. So I think he was just a free agent completely.
That's just fair enough.
And yeah, I mean, technically it was kind of like a trial run, I guess. We're still interviewing for the full-time coach, but I was really happy with the way Eric handled himself these past few weeks. And again, no blame on him. I think it was a tough situation to come into, really. Just
to pivot with the coach conversation, not about Adren, but just about coaching in general. Is it like, what's the field of coaches like to look through? Because to become qualified as a coach, you either need to be an ex-player or you need to be someone who's around the space who can stand out, and it's hard to stand out. Like, how do you even get options? Like, is there names that you're looking at that aren't ex-pros?
I don't know. I mean, I have the best win rate of any coach this year, apart from Extaz. I think I'm probably the best coach this year. So,
okay, well, you're number two.
You're going to be on my list for sure.
So apparently, it doesn't take that much at all. Well, no.
All you know is don't find a coach in talent. Don't find broadcasting.
I haven't tried yet.
You haven't tried yet.
I think there are different ways to explore how like a coaching team can work. I don't think like if you think of like having a single coach versus
analyst.
I think that it's really tough to scout coaches in general because you can't quantify on the server when you watch like a POV or anything like that. You can't quantify what's coming from a coach or from a IGL or from the players individually. You can't, like, without actually just talking to all the players. And like a lot of players, sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I really like him as a coach. Why do they like him as a coach? Oh, because he goes easy on them. Why does a player like a coach?
Sure.
That's a good point. So then you have to assess the player's mentality. Like, is this a guy that wants to be pushed? Does he have that motivation? Does he want someone to push him? So then has a coach who wants to push him. That's who he wants to work with, versus a player who's like, oh yeah, my coach kind of lets me get off with some easy stuff and I can sort of get away with this, so I like him as a coach. So like I think scouting a coach is extremely tough, and I think that's why I've been quite happy to take as much time as we have on it, because like I really like TC as a coach. I think he did a great job. I think Jason's been pretty open about it. Like a lot of the issues were financial with him, not because he was getting like an astronomically high salary, but just because we're trying to rein ourselves in a little bit. So trying to find someone to replace that and sort of maybe get something different that we can, not having a coach, having me being the coach and, essentially having nothing, gave us a good idea of like, actually, we don't really miss this aspect of the coaching, but we do really need this. Like this part, we're really sucking with. So, I think we're beginning to get a better idea now. Obviously, I didn't want to go into the major in that predicament because that's kind of shitty.
And he's got a ton of experience in Counter-Strike and in big games and big tournaments.
He fit in really well with us. I was really happy with Eric. He's still obviously on the shortlist for coaches and sort of had a trial run. And we'll try and wrap that up in the next few weeks and have someone in place to start in July. And I think we're going to be in Europe already by like the 7th of July, I think. think. Like, it's going to be early because like the Fisher event starts on the 14th.
It's like the last week of the player break.
Starts on the 14th. Well, it's in the player break. Let's just be real with it. It's actually in the player break.
Yeah. Okay.
But the player break doesn't exist because
there
is no.
I feel like
the tournament break doesn't exist because
it's just a concept. You know?
Well, it wasn't.
It was easy when there were only 2 TOs that had to agree to it. Now there's like 8.
But when the player association also existed, they actually had an agreement. Like,
did the CSPPA really ever exist?
Technically, they did. Technically, they did.
Is there anything positive that came out of the CSPPA's existence? You hate to hear that. That's not the answer.
You'd love anything, wouldn't you?
It's tough because I was never directly involved in the CSPPA. Right? Like, why would I be? The earliest I remember was I was still with North when they formed it, and I remember the guy.
You knew the Danes
because he was the Danish lawyer guy. Right? Yeah. He came to the office to get the guys to sign the contract, and I remember looking at the contract, and then I looked at our North contracts. I was like, our players actually can't sign this contract because do you remember there was a thing about like the rights that they were giving over, like image rights and stuff. They were giving it over to the CSPPA. I was like, you don't have the players have already signed those to us, so they can't sign them to the CSPPA. But they signed it anyway, and I'm just like, everything seems a bit weird here.
I've heard of a lot of contract negotiations between players and orgs that have like hit rough patches because they had signed their image rights over to CSPPA, and then the org was like really frustrated, and CSPPA was being hard asses about it. But then the TOs also take your likeness as well when you're on events, so like there's all these weird contractual interactions.
So the TO gets the likeness from the
CSPPA?
No, from the team.
Org?
So the team secures the rights to then sub-license the rights to a TO. Typically, that's how I would see it going.
Unless it's already been licensed out to CSPPA.
Well, I would argue that the contracts my North players at the time signed with the CSPPA were invalid because they couldn't. They can't sign that.
They don't have the right to sign it away.
Yeah. Now, some teams will sign non-exclusive rights. The North contracts we had were exclusive rights, so we had full rights over everything.
Sure.
Whereas, if you have non-exclusive rights, then you could technically sign it away. Again, not a lawyer, not legal advice, but my personal understanding.
We're lawyers, we're accountants, we're also space explorers over here. Say whatever you want. Right? Podcasts, you're allowed to say anything. I don't think we're liable for anything.
Podcasters get like pretty much carte blanche on expertise.
And we're in Austin, which is kind of where podcasting wasn't born, but definitely where it lives.
Definitely where it evolved.
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my understanding was that my players at that time could not sign those contracts. I think other players who maybe were non-exclusive image rights would be able to sign those contracts. But yeah, that was my only real experience with the CSPPA.
So CSPPA did nothing.
Because obviously I wasn't a tournament organizer when they were, what was it? They went on strike, didn't they, before a blast event?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I really remember the CSPPA.
I heard
that the voice comms, right?
I heard that was like it was over the voice comms that Blast was playing.
It was in the green room, wasn't it? The ones that were.
That's why I heard a rumor that it was because I was coaching Liquid and I'd also been in the green room at Blast like 5 months prior when they experimented with having comms that we could listen to during the live games.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think they were complaining directly about me, but I think they were complaining that the possibility exists.
Yeah, the premise of it.
Yeah, I mean, the possibility exists. I mean, obviously, there was you, there was Yanko. I mean, technically, Chad could go be a CS coach at any time, right?
But can I just say...
He could. So there is an argument to say that should members of the talent be able to... I'm not fighting either way, but I can see where the argument comes from.
Sure.
I think they overreacted a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that was a wild thing of every injustice that the players have had to deal with. You choose that to like put your stand on was just like
what was the one? This is kind of a dick move. There was obviously the bro one recently, right? Which was a slam dunk. Like the CSPPA would have been all over that in theory, except the fact that they would have been working against another player, ironically.
Yeah.
But yeah,
their strike. It was just the in-game leaders didn't show up to media.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah,
it was I'm sure Blast.
And we will never know what the punishment is.
Well, yeah, but that's because Blast don't have to make it public.
They don't have to, but they should.
But they should have to.
They should have to.
Valve should make it so all that stuff is part. It's like this. I always forget it. TPA.
TOR.
But what is the thing that you signed with?
The Tournament Participation Agreement, TPA.
You said this on the Feed the Trolls. You said that you think it should be a matter of public record.
I think that all the TPA should be a matter of public record because Valve requires all the financial aspects of these events to be public record. I think the TPA should be public record too.
We're going to talk to Valve about that.
I think to some extent that the public should know what the teams are beholden to
100%,
to some degree.
Without a doubt.
If we're going to make certain aspects of this all open, then let's make it all open.
100%.
I think I have no issue if like we've been fined. We got fined by ESL. We got fined like $1,000 because we said some dumb shit to someone.
Was this the Hallzerk one?
No, this was
the Hallzerk one.
Wait, which Hallzerk one?
Was it the Hallzerk one?
Is the Hallzerk one allowed to be public? I just
wait, which Hallzerk one?
Maybe,
I actually don't know what you're talking
maybe
about.
whisper it to him.
Wait. What didn't Hallzerk say?
Oh, no, recently. No, he didn't get fined for that.
Okay.
He called them, was it a fucking Mongoloid or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I can't
That was the one.
Was it Mongoloid?
I think
he
so.
said.
Yeah,
whatever. That's whatever. He
didn't get fined for that.
Not that I know of.
What did he get fined for?
No, we as a team got fined
What'd you say?
collectively. This was back at like Katowice 2023, I think.
Okay. 2 years ago.
Yeah, we got fined like $1,000 because essentially, I don't want to get too much into it, but there was a decision made by the refereeing team that we did not agree with, and we have evidence to prove.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, let's not go deep.
And
let's.
essentially, after the game, before I had had time to walk over there, because it's quite a long walk from like the player lounge to the thing, the players had said some choice words.
Sure.
Not that I can't repeat them, and they said some choice words about the referee standing behind them. And then when I talked to them and got the full story and then reviewed it, I was like, what the fuck, this is bullshit. Like, so then I had some choice words for some ESL stuff.
Yeah. I see. Okay.
And ultimately, they found us $1,000 and I took it on the chin and like, I have no issue making that public. Like if we fuck up, like make it public.
Yeah.
Like actually make the teams like hold them to a certain standard.
Even if it's end of the season or end of the year, I still think they should publish.
No, fucking do it immediately.
Oh, really?
Do it immediately.
Yeah.
Like by all means, like take time to review it if you have to review it. If it's something that isn't like immediate and it's not going to affect the integrity of a game, take the fucking weekend after the event, review it, and then publicize the results. Yeah. Like if it's not going to like be a thing of like, oh, this player needs to be banned from the tournament before the next match, take some time, review it, but make it public within like a reasonable time. Because I know like ESL specifically, they have to publish their fines because
they are publishing them now.
No, they don't have to publish them, but they have to calculate the fines because the money gets redistributed to the other teams.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay. So like if you're late for media day and you get fined $100, that $100 gets redistributed to the other teams. So like quite often, like 2 months after an event, ESL will message us saying, "Hey, we're ready for your prize money. You earned $10,000 and you earned $254.37 from the prize penalty pool."
Okay, why don't they just take it?
Or,
no, I think it's good. I think it's good that they redistribute it.
Yeah, but why? What did you guys do to get an extra?
Give it to charity. That's what the NFL does.
I think it's the principle that it doesn't incentivize ESL to
fine
people.
I see.
And what happens is that they say we're going to pay $250,000 and you get $250,000. I think that's fine. I think and that's how ESL's always worked. Like even going back to like when I was working there, like 2009, they've always done that, and I think that's fine. But that's how you find out that teams have been punished for stuff, and then you're sort of like, oh, well, I know someone's been punished for something. Okay. So what was it? Yeah. Like, tell me, like, where's the record?
What's the biggest bonus you ever got?
So the money.
How bad were these fines?
So the money you get is proportional to the total amount of prize money that you earn. So if you earn like $42,000 of a 100K event, let's say, or like let's say it's like 50K of a 100K event, because that's like the ESL Challenger, then you would get 50% of the total prize pool that you didn't contribute to. So you can't win your own fines back.
Okay.
Because if they take 10% of your 50 grand and you lose 5K, you can't then earn 50% of that back. So you get your percentage of the total prize pool back of the pool of money that you didn't contribute to.
Okay.
Something like that, essentially.
This is fun. I can see how the sausage is made.
It's a really good spreadsheet.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's probably existed for like 20 years now. Like I remember the guy who made it like a long time ago.
Carsten?
Yeah, Carsten Kramer would have
he's
made
still
it.
Around.
Is he?
I think Carsten's still around.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he is.
What was more profitable in terms of fine redistribution, the Astralis era or Navi on top? You know what I mean?
I know what you're trying to get to, but
because those are the two teams in the history that I think would have been fined the most.
Why would Astralis be fined?
Device punching monitors.
Oh yeah.
Where we had one of those, and I actually contested it because they didn't provide us any evidence.
That the monitor was punched.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been on camera?
No.
It would have been on camera.
Well, no.
I think is what you're saying.
Back in those days, they didn't have like player cams on every single player.
That's right.
So unless like the main guy with the camera caught it, I was like, hey, can you provide us the evidence so at least I know what I'm paying the fine for?
Yeah.
And in the end, I had to pay it. There was one where we were claimed to be like 2 minutes late to a match, and the guy for evidence sent me a text file, just like text, and I was like, that's not evidence. I held up the prize money payment for like 2 months because until we accepted the fine, they couldn't process the final totals for the prize money for all the other teams. So I was essentially getting they were getting to the point where like, please, can you accept the fine? I'm like, no, I'm not accepting the fine. Because like I was in the room. It was the RMR. It was the first. It was the PGL. It was the ESL RMR that was for the PGL.
Oh, the one in Sweden.
It was the one in Stockholm for Stockholm.
NIP one with device, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, it was that one. And like I was in the room with the guys, and I was like, I was standing behind them. So like, if there was an admin telling us to ready up, like I was there. So I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
So I was like, can you please provide me with like some level of evidence? And they were like, no, here's the text log file. And I was like, it's not really evidence, guys.
Yeah, I'm not.
And it was only like $50.
So you held up.
I like that though.
2 months.
That's so petty that I appreciate.
Look,
the
I
hell
think
out of
petty
it.
thing every now and again.
It was extremely petty, and do you know the reason I was so petty about it was because that event happened in like October.
And we were doing a bubble.
Yeah, and they sent me notification of that fine in like January, like mid-January.
okay.
Oh, what the?
I was like, it's 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're
Over 2
gonna, if you're gonna tell me about a fine, like, tell me first of all, you have to warn me in the room.
Yeah.
Like, I was there, like, I was in the room the whole time because again, we were in the bubble, like, I couldn't be anywhere else. So, like, if you're gonna tell us, like, hey, you're late for the match, they could have told me then.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that. And then it's 2.5 months has passed, so you could have told me after the match. You could have said, like, straight after the match, just come and tell me, hey guys, you were 2 minutes late, you're gonna get fined. And then I could have said, "Oh, okay,
keeps
we
his
were."
spreadsheet, so he definitely would have noted that.
Yeah.
Look, I got one. I'm gonna throw a spanner
Get
in
in
the
there.
works. Ready?
Yep.
This big spanner. Now, I've been talking to some managers of other teams throughout this first stage. I've been hearing that the way that the sticker sales are trending at this one is better than last time.
I think it depends a lot on which capsule we're in.
Isn't everyone in the same capsule in this stage?
Yeah, but which capsule we were in last time as well.
Oh. I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's all relative. Okay.
It's all relative to way.
Well, and
way,
then now,
way
now we got the other ones, the new ones coming in, the little highlight clips. The little highlight,
Well,
Yeah.
that'll change some things definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's obviously good to note that sticker money is broke up into like a few different factors. So there's like the viewer pass.
Okay.
So like people who buy like the viewer pass to like be able to do their pickups and
I
stuff.
did it.
Yeah.
They took the money from me.
I did the VIP one.
Yeah, so that money,
3 tokens.
so that money plus the viewer pass with the 3 tokens
Yeah.
and the souvenir tokens, that money used to get distributed to all 24 teams. Now I assume gets distributed to all 32 teams.
Yeah.
I haven't asked for the exact percentage.
And there's some for the TO as well, right?
Yeah, the TO takes a small percentage, but again, like
And Valve take 50%.
I don't think it's. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about percentages.
Ooh.
But I can tell you that all the 32 teams take an equal share.
Okay.
Okay.
And the TO may get some and may get some. I don't know.
Okay.
But all 32 teams should get an equal share of that. And then there's obviously the capsules, and there's now a 16-team capsule, which I think is ridiculous. But
Why?
So there's an argument that by increasing the rarity, because you can certainly get 1 sticker per capsule, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
every single sticker in that capsule is technically rarer,
Yes.
which may drive people to buy more stickers, except that the teams in that capsule are the least popular teams.
But there's Chinese teams.
There are Chinese teams, and the lowest capsule tends to have most of the newer teams with the newer logo,
Okay,
with logos
stuff
with
that
logos that have been in there
Gotcha,
before.
yeah.
So like a lot of the time, what used to happen is the Legends capsule would be the highest selling. Because you typically would have the highest teams. When they made the change, like they make the Legends teams the ones with the highest VRS, then it fucking exploded. Like the gaps got so much bigger.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
obviously when you concentrate all the top players and teams
Yes.
into one capsule, that's going to sell the best, right?
Yes.
And then what would happen is the contender capsule, the lowest one, would then sell quite well because it would have like the newer teams, the newer players who had never been to a major. So you get like 3 or 4 new logos, and then the middle.
But that
capsule,
little middle child
the
is
middle
always
capsule
forgotten about.
Would be like kind of the European teams that people don't really care about, and then like 1 or
Yeah.
2 like Brazilian, North American teams, whatever. You know, never any Asian team until recently.
Yep.
So yeah, the middle capsule would kind of be like the weird child where it would just not perform as well as the others.
Just neglected.
So do you think it's better you're in the 16 capsule, or or if you think it'd be better to be in the middle trial?
Monazine, Nico, and Phase are in the middle capsule this time.
shit.
So
So it'd be better to be there.
And-
I
Simple's
think
not
I think it's going to be better to be in that one. No,
Okay.
Simple's not there. If Simple wasn't there, then it would be a slam
It
dunk.
would
But
be crazy.
I think because of those two specifically being in that capsule, and you've also got Furia, so you've got Fallen, and you've got 3 Brazilian teams in there, which is like the main concentration of the popular Brazilian teams.
Now 2 Asian teams as well.
Well,
Well,
no,
no.
but they count for stage 1.
Yes, it's three. It's 3D.
Oh,
max,
they don't like get a move up to the next capsule.
It's
at all?
3D Max and VP that are in that capsule to compete, which
okay.
is
Oh, I see.
again,
Yeah, I see.
VP probably get a lot of the Spirit. I mean, Spirit are also there, so they might not get like the full Russian. But like it is heavily based on which teams are in the capsules.
Okay.
But like the way it's typically distributed, like Falcons and FaZe would not be in that capsule.
Sure, that's true, yeah.
Or haven't typically been in that capsule.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah, and then obviously the sticker amount you get, the teams get like a very, very small percentage of the signature capsule, and the players get a very, very small percentage of the team logo capsule.
Okay, yep.
And then the players obviously get a significant portion of the signature capsule,
yeah.
and the teams get the majority portion. But again, it's shared equally amongst all the teams that are within the same capsule. So
Sure.
right now we're getting like 1/16 of the team share of the capsule,
Sure.
whereas it used to be 1/8.
But you have the draw of
We
eight
have the
extra
draw
teams,
of we have the draw
but
of
they're
8
not
extra
the most
teams,
popular teams.
but they're not the most popular, and that probably won't translate into double the amount of sales, which is what you'd need to equal out,
Sure,
right?
of course.
So
So you guys are kind of like the experiment of how this 16-team capsule is going to play
we
out.
will see. Yeah, I would say that sales are probably better this time to begin with than Shanghai.
Okay.
Like,
Wasn't Shanghai a disaster though? Like, wasn't it like the
Shanghai
bar
was,
was set low?
Shanghai was the worst stickers we've had post-COVID.
So we really couldn't have gone down lower.
I'm glad he said post-COVID because the first stickers we got 12 grand.
Yeah, no, post-COVID. Like, I mean, I've seen the data for Berlin for a while back. So like that was the last like pre-COVID
Yeah,
major.
yeah.
So I think like everything post-COVID has been better than that.
Yeah.
But like it's been trending down pretty much, apart from Paris, which was this weird freaking anomaly that Paris was an anomaly.
How important is the sticker money to like the team operations?
I think that depends on how you run your
I
team.
imagine for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys it's pretty important. And
Yeah,
Australis.
obviously, for
the wrong reasons.
Our financial situation has changed quite a bit, going from partnerships to
Yeah.
no partnerships. Sorry, I just whacked the mic.
Yeah,
good.
So yeah, obviously now it's a pretty essential financing part for us. Missing out would be painful. But we've also knew that we were going to have to take sort of mitigating steps in our finances to bring us down to a level that was more reasonable. I don't think we expected to have it quite so bad as it is, as in terms of like event attendances and things like that. But we were planning way back when we had. We were competing as like a top sort of 5 to 10 team. So we obviously, based our outlook based on that. And then as things progressed, obviously, we found out more about the financial structures and it got a bit more concerning.
Sure.
As things progressed. But, we'll have to see really. It's only been 6 months. I think the main issue for me isn't obviously the main issue is the financial aspect of it, because that's ultimately what runs everything. But I think just seeing how like the ecosystem shapes out and what events you can realistically attend. I think there's a huge issue with what I'll call. I mean, I'm not going to call it, but I'm going to use that word now. Clustering, where like the same teams are getting invited to the same events.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep happening. And I think that whilst it is what the VRS was intended to do, which is to reward merit based, I think the problem is that the teams who attend the events are always going to have more points than the teams that don't.
Yes.
Of course.
So no matter what happens, unless you get like a one, like we did it, like our top 4 run in Bucharest, slammed us up the rankings, and now we'll get a few invites, but not enough.
But that's the thing, right? It's like if you break in and you have a good result, then that's going to reinforce a couple of other events. And then if you go to those events and you continue to have good results, then you're going to spark up.
It doesn't work like that,
The thing
though.
that you tweeted about today, I think, is the most egregious thing lately.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, before we move on to that, what do you mean it doesn't work that way?
Well, it does kind of work that way, right? So we went up the rankings. I think we've got like the top 13, 14. We've slid down to 17th now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we missed out on EWC.
Yep, which was only top 15 teams.
Top 15, we were 16th. I think we were 17th by like a point. But we got Cologne, which is nice.
Yep.
So we've got
play-ins,
Fisher Playground into Cologne, and we'll get the bounty because it's like top 30 teams.
32,
so we won't miss that.
Oh, 30 because it's
So that's great. We've got those 3 events, but because we didn't perform at this major, we're going to miss out on like 6 events.
Holy.
We're going to miss out on like.
Well, it's not a single win, right? You didn't get a single LAN win. And you didn't.
No, we're 17th. So if we're not top 16, we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, like teams like Tyloo and other teams can overtake us still. So we're going to miss out on like Blast Fall Open. We're going to miss out on Pro League. We're going to miss out on Starladder Bucharest. We're going to miss out on the second Fisher
you
event
can get back in
because
the invites.
all of those events are in July.
Yeah.
So even by the time the events that we earned from our performance in Bucharest. So we performed in April in Bucharest. We got invites in May and June for events in July.
Yeah.
But because there's no events that are inviting really on the August invite, and there's only one inviting on the September invite, we've essentially earned nothing. We've earned a few event invites this time, but there's no way we can keep it going.
I see what you're saying, but a strong result in Fisher or
strong result
Bounty
in Cologne.
or Cologne could be enough to get you enough points to guarantee the major.
Could be.
Could be.
But the problem is that after
You won't get more
the problem is
attempts.
the problem is that after that, there's like 5 events that all take place before the October cutoff, and
everything
we
else
can't
can
qualify
move.
for another event before that October cutoff, based on the current points we
Oh,
have.
that's so gross.
So like, unless you get yourself really high up in there, it's just going to be like there's going to be generally like 15 teams or like 12 teams, because I think the fall open for Blast only invites 12 teams.
Yeah.
There's going to be 12 teams that are going to potentially can accept 6 events in a row,
Yeah.
and no one will be able to overtake them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're basically guaranteed the
Gatekeep
major
it,
already.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, in 2 weeks they'll be guaranteed the major for the next major, pretty much.
that's insane. I feel
Because
that feels like that's a design flaw.
Because if they accept every single invite, then no other teams can. So even if like the other teams are filled up with like 4 teams.
Well, then the problem there too is like you'd also like you just incentivize teams to grind even harder so that they can block their opponent
So
out.
that's the incentive structure that Valve have kind of put out there, is the sense of, do you want to keep attending every event, right?
Yeah.
And it may burn out your players, and you may drop down the ranking, or do you want to actually take some time off? And everybody besides Vitality have opted to play almost everything open and shut. Whereas there's been a couple that's like, oh, we haven't attended this one. There was obviously the early politics with PGO, but I think that's over now. I think that's finally sorted itself out.
Yep.
So with that all sorted, but the one that hurts these guys a lot is what Graham tweeted about today,
Yeah,
which is to
I
do with
saw
the
that.
MRQ,
Yeah.
right? So the fact that those dates overlap with 4 other events, and those 4 other events, there's no way that like the top teams would probably be attending those events anyway, and then that means it would likely trickle down to where you guys would probably be in the rankings at the time, and then you could pick and choose what event you wanted to go to out of CAC or Thunder Peak or this or that, and now that gets taken away from you because you may potentially have to be playing in the MRQ.
Yeah, I mean,
fucked.
there's pretty much a guarantee that we would play in at least one of those events, because you can't invite 16 teams to Shanghai and 8 teams to Mesa and not get to top 24, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the Rubet and Thunderpeak, which are both online. Or actually,
Thunderpeak's on LAN.
Thunderpeak's on LAN,
Yeah.
that part of it, but the offline qualifier is like in a month before that is online, which 4 teams will come from. But
I
then,
just know it's in Malta.
but that's like another Yellow Compass thing where like you qualify for an event and then you can't go.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That was.
But then the Rubet's also online, right? So like some teams will be quite happy to just go to Thunderpick because it's in Europe and they don't want to travel to China and Mongolia to play an event. But then we don't have the opportunity to.
You have to take it.
So we would have to take it.
Yeah.
And yeah, essentially it will be the same situation we had last time, where we'll find out a week before that we can't play. Now we were very close to qualifying for this automatically. We played that Yellow Compass qualifier. We won all 5 games. We did everything we could, and M80 won their qualifier a few days before, and they got the points. And that sucks.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I feel like we were the least egregious team in that Yellow Compass qualifier, because at least we were trying to win to not qualify to the MRQ.
Right, right.
Whereas other teams were using the points to qualify to the MRQ, knowing full well that if they succeeded, they would not be able to go to Yellow Compass.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bit of a difference there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
but what do you even do about
Oh,
it?
you can't
Yeah.
police it.
No.
You can't
No.
police it because at the end of the day, you can't say to a team, "No, you can't go and earn points at this event
Yeah.
to qualify for another event." Like
Yeah.
it is tough, and yet, but Yellow Compass got screwed because there's no reason why that MRQ date shouldn't have been known long before that.
Especially with what Valve have put out there.
Well, I know when we talk about the VR system, we've always mentioned like this first year is going to be rough. There's going to be a lot of learning experiences,
I
and
feel
I mean
like-
it's
I
a
feel like this
luxury.
one-
Well, it's a luxury that we get to say that because we don't actually get affected by it all that much. We just like
No.
watch you guys get affected. So for you, I mean, for you on this side, like, what's the biggest improvement? Like, where do you find the biggest improvement in the VRS?
This one's an easy one. Graham's preaching this one for the rooftop Jason.
Yeah,
He'll
I
be on
think-
top of one of the booms and off them with a megaphone.
Yeah, I think the whole clustering thing is a bit annoying because like we had it back in February, right? When I think Game Elige missed out by like a point because they calculated
Yes.
the thing.
Yeah, over VP or something,
It was VP or Fury or one of them because they took into account the match they lost that day,
Yeah.
but
That's
they didn't
right.
take into account the next match because
Yeah.
it was still going.
fixed that now.
They fixed that, which is good. But like Game Elige missed out on like 4 invites because of that.
Jesus
So, like,
Christ.
I think they ended up getting like 1 or 2 of them through like a trickle down and like
Yeah, yeah.
declines and
That's
stuff.
a big whoopsie.
But like that was unfortunate. But like again, that was like four events inviting for like there was like the rest of the season. Like I mean, I understand why ESL did it with Dallas, but like they did Dallas, which was in May.
Dallas invites were so
Like they were so
Yeah.
early. And I understand why they did it with some of the teams and the political climate and everything else. But like I feel like that was egregious. But
I
again,
think 2 months for the major is crazy. So that's just me.
yeah, I mean, I think again with certain countries it's fine. I think like with Starladder and Hungary, I think it's a bit more
Just bring them
reasonable.
up.
Yeah, I would like to see that, but I also understand why they can't be I understand why they want to be ahead of it, because they want to obviously ensure that all teams can attend, and we obviously did have one team that couldn't attend this time, which is unfortunate. I'm sure Legacy don't give a fuck, but
Legacy the next stage now. They don't give a single fuck.
they're celebrating.
Congrats to them. Like we were scrimming them a lot, and like they were fucking hitting. They were shooting. They were shooting. Like my pick'ems, I was like Legacy straight in. Like,
really?
yeah. the way they were shooting the last few weeks, they were. This was like just before they knew that they kind of knew that they were in with a shot, and obviously they were preparing for Dallas, and they were.
Yeah, they knew a little bit ahead of time the possibility was there.
Yeah, which they should do, because they should be prepared.
They need to be on call.
And Blast also need to check, like, do you have visas?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Because they can't just like kick out a team and then be like, oh, who's the next team? Oh, you don't have visas either? Oh, who's the next team? You know, they have to be prepared. So, yeah.
But this is the thing, and he didn't get there, but it's just announce the MRQ dates
2 years in advance.
2 years in advance.
like all the other tournaments.
Yes.
That's it. It's as simple as that. And here's the thing. We already know, well, I assume you know the next 3 TOs for the majors, right?
I definitely know the next 2. I don't know the first of 2027. Oh wait, no, because I knew Starladder. Yeah, okay.
I don't know any for 2027.
Then yes, I know.
But we know them. Why don't we say it?
TOs.
Why don't we? Why not us say it? But why don't they say it?
I mean,
I was going to count us in. I was going to count us in. 1, 2, 3.
I mean,
who goes first?
I mean, technically, I don't have a contract with any of these people, so I could.
Well,
do
you
it.
could say it if you want.
Nah, I'm not going to do it.
That'd be great for us. We'll end up front page Reddit.
Yeah, it'll be sweet interactions.
Because normally we get downvoted and it's like, fuck these guys, man. Fuck the
Bro, I'd create a short on that so quick.
Yeah, it'd be all over.
You're going to win our
I've
TikTok
probably said enough
account.
dumb shit anyway, so fuck.
I don't know about that.
We've had worse said on this podcast. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised.
you just have Yanko here, so of course you do.
Oh dear.
I love you, Yanko.
Yeah.
We miss you.
I appreciate his dry humor.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It goes
Yeah,
over
yeah.
a lot of people's heads though, which is unfortunate. They think he's just a cunt.
He is much funnier
Yeah.
than people expect him to be.
Yeah. But yeah, those dates I think is the big one. But what do you think about this? I think that there are too many spots available at the MRQs. I think they should add more spots, even if it means you go to stage 1, right, for the VRS.
How would you distribute those slots?
You distribute the spots in the same way. Like,
Same
so
way?
for example, like right now in Asia, we had 4 teams starting stage 1, and then we had to break it up with the sub, because we're going to do it online. It's going to be the same dog shit again for that region.
Yes.
We had to break it up between like all the sub regions.
Oh yeah, that was fucked up.
What I would do is just, instead of having it like, so 4 teams have to qualify online, make it just 2. And then the next 2 best Asian teams actually just get to qualify straight in based off VRS.
I mean, Asia is tough.
Yeah, it is.
Because of ping.
Tell me
like
about
you can't do that online. What you just suggested, like that doesn't work. And you are well aware. Did they remove the Oceania region from
When?
from the next MRQ?
Did they?
Oceania doesn't exist anymore.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they merged
you've just
Oceania
given
into
Chad the
either
worst
West
news.
or East Asia. Which, I mean, you tell me what the ping's going to be like for West or East Asia.
Better get on a fucking plane.
I was going to say you'd have to fly.
I'm pretty sure it's China and then West Asia and East Asia.
Grams
so-
just ruined the day.
Yeah,
I might
he's
have
really
to
hit
ruin
you.
the day.
He's
I
really
mean,
hit you with a banger.
I think FlyQuest are the ones that are feeling it the most right now.
Oh yeah.
Double-
I don't know if
double
they're
bad
feeling
news.
anything right now.
No.
What was that weird situation that the VRS created too, where like the Chinese teams, like one of them had to like make that statement that they like were like get put in a position where they're incentivized to lose, so they just forfeited.
Because they had 4 slots distributed amongst 3 regions, 3 sub-regions, which was easily fixable by just having 4 sub-regions. And also, I should clarify that the major sub-regions don't line up with the third-party organizers sub-regions. Like the third-party organizers, like they've said, like if you want to invite an Asia slot, and you want to subdivide it, which they do for like America's slots get subdivided between North America and South America, it has to be equal. And they listed 3 regions. But those 3 regions aren't the same regions that the TOs use for the major.
Okay.
And now 2 different TOs have used 2 separate distribution of 3 regions for Asia. Like Asia's just a mess, and I empathize so much with it because it,
Write this one down. We
is
talked
fucked up.
about this as well.
It is fucked up. But the reason that happened was because the number 1 team in Asia who isn't
Mongols.
the Mongol, essentially the number 1 team who's going to play the MRQs.
Yes.
Wherever that team was from would give their spot an extra slot, right?
Yeah.
Which ended up being China.
Which ended up being China because I think Lin Vision had to lose against
Tyloo. Or Rare
to
Adams.
preserve that spot in China.
Yeah, if they'd overtaken them, it would have been no benefit to them in the MRQ in the VRS, but it would have knocked Tyloo lower. Have you just seen what I said?
You read it out loud, Chad. Read it for the class.
The regions participating in the MRQs include Europe, Americas, North America, South America, Asia, West Asia, East Asia, China.
Yeah, so what I would suggest is that if they're going to have 4 slots for Asia, they maybe just do 4 regions and give them all 1, and then you knock both of those stones out both those birds out of one stone, because then you won't have the double up.
So sad, Jason.
I know. So the energy's left the room. Or this is like the Cold Era double no scope.
But the thing
is, no one wants to talk anymore.
That Valve have said that Asia is always going to have 4 qualification slots. Like the invite slots don't get changed,
Yes.
right? They've always said that Asia is going to have 4 qualification slots.
4-6-6.
Yeah, it's 4-6-6, right? And then NA and SA make sense. You split 3 and 3. That's fine. You know,
Europe, whatever.
and Europe's whatever.
Yep.
Just make 4 regions. Like make Oceania its own region, and then split a huge geographically.
China gets its own.
China gets its own,
Yeah.
and then do like East Asia for Mongolia and Japan and
Yeah.
South Korea and whatever, and then do West Asia, and then do Oceania.
Yep.
Like do a Middle East qualifier. But like if you're going to try and subdivide regions, like in a region that's so geographically diverse and big, that where ping is the issue, just subdivide it more to the amount of slots you have, because you're always going to have 4 slots every
We need to
single
kick
time.
up a fuss about this one.
Yeah,
I'm not going to take
we'll do
this
it.
battle today.
No.
I've been taking other battles.
We've got to
recently.
prepare. We've got 2 weeks to prepare for that battle.
Okay.
Do you know which region Oceania would even be in? I'm assuming East Asia. Not going to be in West Asia, are they?
Don't think so.
I mean, I can't see why they would be.
Could they pick?
We don't know. I haven't read enough into
No,
it.
I don't.
All I know,
it's not
all I
enough
know
information,
is,
but
all
I think
know
it's
is they
time,
got
Chad. You guys should just come back and join the Americas
But-
region,
but
you can't be in
like
China.
it was back in the
Don't
day.
aim for that. You can't be in China.
No.
But you know what they've just done? They've just made Oceanic teams to play the major pay to play,
Yes,
which is what used to happen to like the South Africans, because they can't. How are you going to compete on a 190 ping?
it's true.
To
Oh,
wherever?
that's right. Yeah.
It's,
Well, I mean,
essentially you have to pay to travel somewhere to now play the qualifier, which is for your home regions. Fucked up. Like, I understand with like South Africans and like there was no
don't
qualifier
you,
for Africans.
but don't you
right?
have the same pay to win kind of feature being a North American organization? Like how much money you guys have to spend going
Do
over
you
to boot
mean to
camps frequently?
play just events for VRS points?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean-
well, it's slightly different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's something that's going to happen more next year.
Well, yeah, we're already trending that because, like, I think that just to get land wins, right, you can look at going to some of the smaller events that are open and try and...
Oh no, I don't even mean that. I
Yeah.
mean like TOs just scrapping regional qualifiers and just making all global qualifiers on European servers.
Yeah.
That's sad, though.
Yeah.
Well,
don't want that.
it
It's-
would mean that if you were like a party astronaut or a boss
You'd
or
never
something.
get an
fucked,
opportunity.
yeah.
Well, no, you get the opportunity as long as you can pay.
Well, yeah,
And then,
but-
it, then,
yeah, so you never get the opportunity.
and then it becomes
Therein lies the fault.
pay to play, and then it's based on how much money you have, not on your merit of your
You're right.
abilities.
Yeah.
So I
and
think-
it's so like it's so anti all the concepts that the major is supposed to be, which is
Yeah.
supposed to be like every region is supposed to be represented, every region is supposed to have a chance to actually enter in. It's just weird.
Yeah, I should clarify. This is for third-party events.
Yeah.
This is for
Yeah,
your,
not
yeah,
for the-
yeah,
yeah, I'm not going to name any names, but this is for those third-party.
Right, but
events.
like I always figure like the major is like it's almost like a Valve coming down from the mountain with like their god decree of like how
Yeah.
things are supposed to like everyone kind of models things after the major. All the Swiss systems that we do, like, you know, everything that's out there is basically like if the major does it, we have to follow suit because the players want to play on the major formatted rule sets.
yeah,
so,
but we
like,
don't do we? 'Cause
yeah.
we don't do 12.5k
The
overtime.
PGO
in this
still do
event.
10k?
I think that might be the one
Yeah,
deviation they
I'm
make.
pretty sure.
I think that's the one deviation they make. But the PGL rulebook is essentially just the Valve rulebook, and it's fine.
Which is very Slavinsky inspired.
But at least they do best of threes the whole way through.
Yeah.
which is a significant improvement and could easily be done for the majors.
Could very easily be done for the majors.
But yeah, I think they do use 12.5k OT. I think that might be the one deviation they make.
All right.
Which I can't remember. I can't remember the last time we went to OT in a PGL event.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Actually, it was against G2 on Dust 2.
There you go.
Nailed
So I
it,
can
yeah.
remember.
We got
Yeah.
9-3, then we came back.
I think because I was doing my major prep for this, and I just was, that was one of the things. Like you go through the rule book, it's like, okay, still 10k for. It's like, mate, I don't want to see any fucking saving in overtime.
No,
Like,
I don't either.
even you still could be saving with 12.5k, to be fair, but I
Yeah,
don't.
if you're
like-
buying lots of AWPs, you can, but it makes it more palatable.
I just see it. And I'm like, okay. People are like, oh, you don't want there to be the core component of the economy in the game in overtime. Is that actually?
Why'd you have to say it like that? That was like that's my angle.
No, I was just reading.
For
Reddit
fuck's
comments.
sake,
Sorry,
dickhead!
man.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ!
And my answer to that is no. Actually,
I want y'all oppers to get fucking punished if you want to buy an op for 50
I just
rounds.
want it. So Freiburg was the one who was always pushing the 12.5k.
Yeah.
And the thought process is there, like, you can't just buy 5 AWPs every round.
Yeah,
I don't think we should have-
because Dust 2 in OT could be
Yeah.
really tough
Yeah.
if you could just, like, 16k was rough.
That was always my argument. If a
Trying to-
team comes back with double op setup
Yeah.
and you beat that one round in overtime, they should get punished for
Yeah.
But
having
I
to
think
spend
you
that.
should be able to run a double AWP setup at least once and not get
Yeah, yeah.
completely wrecked.
Well, you don't get completely wrecked unless you lose the second round as well.
Yeah, but that's it. You, like, if you run double ops in the first round, then you're still going to have an opportunity to play that rifle round in the next round, and then you're not completely fucked at that point.
The
Right?
problem is that third round is like pistols. It'd be like, at least give me like a FAMAS or something.
I think the money should just reset every round.
Just 12 and a half.
No, just give them the same amount.
Just give them like 8K.
Just give them like 6K. You know?
Okay, so you can do full buy, but then you could do ops every round. You could do 5 ops.
Yeah, but then you'd have nothing else.
But you just said it resets every round.
Yeah, but if you buy
He's saying
5
if you buy
orbs,
AWP and Kevlar, you don't have-
I'm saying you spawn in with nothing every round of OT.
Oh, okay.
So if you buy 5 orbs, you're locked into having 5 orbs for the rest of the round. So you can buy double orbs, and you can use them for the whole round. Like basically, essentially, there's no economical issues in OT.
There's
Like
no flow interface. But what if I save an AK? On the CT side.
That would be.
Yeah.
No, fuck
What
it.
about a
Fuck
T?
it. No AK. You just reset every time.
Fuck.
It's CTs versus Ts.
Now it's getting grim. They need to fix this fucking incendiary.
Yeah, they
Fucking
do.
incendiary needs to be fixed.
Yeah, that shit needs.
I'm over. It's
I
dog
know.
shit.
It's rough.
It's dog shit.
I hate CNT's disrespected. It's so sad.
It's like, what are
so
we doing
sad.
with this? It doesn't do anything. It's cheaper, sure, but it's not worth the price point still.
Yeah.
The thing is that the CTs are the ones that typically need the better.
Yeah.
I don't mind
Molotov.
I don't mind the time. Like, you can keep it a shorter time,
Yeah.
but make it the old spread.
Yeah.
Right? Let's not have both. Let's just have one of
Does
the two.
it do less damage as well?
Well, I think because the
It only
spread's
does less
smaller.
damage because it's a smaller spread, so you get
Unless
through
you
it
run
quicker.
Right. So only because of the distance
I
travel.
think the damage is still
because
very
the
the
actual
same.
ticks are lower.
Yeah.
I tweeted
Damage should be the
today
same.
about
Okay.
the AWP kill reward being, I think it should be back to 300. And people were like, well, they should do the CZ75 first. And I was like, but they already did. That's how people didn't notice it. The CZ75.
No one
back
uses
to
it anymore.
300. Yeah, because it's shit.
Nobody fucking
It's
uses it.
shit.
Ops 100 now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it should be 300 because I think MR12, so you see less AWPs. I also think AWPs
Yes.
are nerfed.
I think the 5 bullet in terms of ammunition with the AWP is a better nerf than the kill reward going down to 100.
Yeah, I see.
Do you know what I mean? Like early on, the $100 kill reward was a
okay.
nerf on the AWPers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think now that it's 5 bullets instead of 10 bullets, that's the better nerf.
You think you justify the $300
Yeah.
because of the 5?
Yeah.
Well, I also think you made a good point with the MR12, is that because there's less rounds to build up that economy, you need the AWPs when they're getting kills, they need a little bit more to
need a
sustain
little
themselves.
Yeah.
Like, because they're not earning enough from their kills to justify rebuying. I mean, obviously the kills themselves justify the cost, right? But yeah, because they have less rounds to rebuild that economy, giving them a few extra, if they do get 3 kills and they get $900, like that goes towards their next one.
It's
when they
still
do
not
die.
even a crazy amount of money when you think about it.
No,
right? Like
no.
$300 for 3 kills, and it's like AWPs aren't anywhere near as impactful as they used to be. Maybe they still are in like casual or matchmaking or Premier or something like that, sure. But in top tier Counter Strike, it's not the case. Like AWPers who are very good can be very impactful.
Yeah, outside of like the top 3 or 4 AWPers, beyond that,
It's
not
getting
super
tougher,
impactful.
right?
Yeah,
Especially on a consistent basis. And then you get in like force by wars, like some of the games I was watching today, and it's like the AWP's not coming out until round 8. And it's like the half is already well and truly over.
There wasn't a single AWP bought in our OG game.
yeah, that's true.
On Ancient,
Yes, yeah,
but
with
it was
the-
because we were T side, so Junior wasn't buying one. We obviously
Which is
got
fair
got
enough.
like I don't know what was it, like 11-1 or something. We got
Something like that.
fucked, right? Nico got us
Yeah.
fucked.
He
went massive.
It was
was
what it was what it
unreasonable.
was, and then he wasn't buying an AWP because he was loving his rifles.
He just
Yeah.
kept AKing from windows. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just shoot everybody.
He was a
Yeah.
rifler all along.
Yeah.
We've been saying it for years.
Well,
Yeah.
or when you want to.
It's a
Yeah.
hybrid. A hybrid.
Yeah, that works too.
Here's a question: should SMG, with SMGs being so powerful still, should they have their kill reward reduced?
I think
Because they are still very
they
powerful.
did slightly nerf the MP9. I think that
Was it like crouching accuracy or something?
Yes, which still doesn't stop.
But
them
who's
running down.
crouching with the fucking? I mean, I know people do like to do some long range, but like
People in
its
casual.
main power is to run and gun,
Yeah.
right?
And I saw a round from Risky Bob on train the other day that made me feel like the MP9 has never been nerfed before.
I think that it might need another nerf. I think keep the kill reward because the whole like
Point of it is farming economy.
yeah, but it's also like to help like if you have it on a shit round and then you
Yeah.
can kind of get yourself out of it. The one at the moment that I think is the new pound for pound best gun of the game is the 5.7.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like the 5.7's sick.
It's just
I love
crazy.
that shit.
Yeah.
Like when I see 5.7s on certain maps like Inferno and stuff, I'm like they can win this round.
Yeah,
Close,
this is
right
really
around
dangerous,
corners
yeah.
and stuff.
They
Yeah.
can easily win this round. Like they're
Yeah.
just fucking bang dead. Where should we talk to Graham about now? Or what? Not where, because we're in the same room.
I don't know, but I got something. We can buy you some time to think of something.
Okay.
How's my boy Grim doing? It's weird seeing him as the veteran of this team.
In a way.
yeah.
In a way.
It's definitely a weird position for him to be in as well. I think. I think there's a lot more responsibility on his shoulders, especially with the way we've rebuilt the team.
Yeah.
It's like 2 rookies. I think he's growing into it. He's not there yet. Like he's not like a bona fide leader, so to speak.
Yep.
But you know, he understands the responsibility, but learning to deal with it and to, you know, I mean, obviously he's performing well, which is one part of it. You know, you can't be the old guy doing nothing, right? So
yeah. And especially if you're going to take on responsibility, like having that kind of a performance helps a lot with the other guys.
Yeah, and you know, I think he's got some development to go still, but like he's getting there. You know, it's the first time for him that he's been in that position. Really, he's always generally had someone of, let's say, equal or sort of more experience than him, both, you know, on Liquid and with us. Obviously, we had Elige for a while, and you know, in the early stages when we first built the team, sort of before we got Elige, it was kind of equal. Like him, Floppy were kind of equal. JT was kind of equal. So like they were all together, and now obviously JT still has all of his leadership responsibilities, but he needs like a lieutenant.
He needs like a right-hand man.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, he's sort of falling into that, and Hallzerk as well is also falling into that a bit more as well. So we sort of got a new veteran core, which, you know, again, they're growing into it. Like they're not made for it immediately, but you know, we'll get there, I think.
Do you reckon you make some changes after the major Fallout Grand with all the North American teams? Because MAD about to go 0-3.
I mean, obviously we made changes in the winter.
I know.
Obviously we did.
More changes are on the table, Graham. There's players available.
I mean, I don't know if there's any available. I haven't inquired this time around. I inquired over the winter, and I basically got shut down.
Really?
Completely shut down.
Across the board?
Across the board. They're either completely unwilling to even talk about any negotiations.
Orgs or the players?
Orgs.
Interesting.
So that would be wildcard in MAD.
Either completely unwilling to talk about it, or being what I would say unreasonable prices. Like there's a certain limit to how valuable a North American player can be in this economy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the numbers we were talking about.
Yeah,
so
that's like a no, like a financial no.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, you know, I would say I'm pretty financially responsible. Like, I try and run this team as smart as I can, and like, I can't even justify going to Jason with some of the numbers that I get told.
Sure.
Like, you know, I try and bring him the best plan I can bring him, and I try and be well reasoned and justify things as best I can. And like some of the numbers we were talking about, I'm just like, I'm not even going to suggest it. I'm just going to say like it was out of our budget.
Yeah.
Because I know it is, and it's not even worth like it's not. I can't even with a straight face be like, hey, we should buy this player for this price.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make financial sense. Like the amount of money that we can earn throughout a whole year, even if we were like a top 5 team, potentially you wouldn't earn that amount of money.
What kind of numbers are we fucking talking about?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
Is America going the way of Brazil?
feels like it. I think if I'm completely honest,
Graham's full of bad news today.
if I'm completely honest, I
It
think
can't get worse for NA, Jason. What are you so worried about?
I think that a lot of teams smelt blood in the water when we lost Elige.
Okay.
I think they thought they could capitalize on us.
Like you were maybe going to make a stupid decision or something.
Yeah, I think they thought that like, hey, like this is the one time to not sell to Complexity, right? Because we want to take their spot, so to speak. You know, no partnership leagues. They've lost Elige. You know, now's the time to try and capitalize on that, and it hasn't really gone well for anyone.
Sure, everyone's kind of just like trying to water.
I mean,
That's the nice thing, though. If Wildcard just bombed out, so now it's like, go back. What's up, guys?
I heard a crazy thing about Wildcard. I heard like when the whole thing with Sonic happened on Twitter. This is
the Amaranth thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I want to let everybody know this is just one of those like backroom conversations that could be absolutely based in nothing. It's not to be taken as fact, and it's not to definitely be posted by one of those fucking Twitter accounts. So that means it definitely will.
Yeah,
be.
it will be.
Start now to take this out of context.
Yeah. Make sure that you take it out of
I
context
already
from
have
here.
an account in mind.
But I'd heard this thing that's like, so when they had that like back and forth and that happened, they were actually able to negotiate higher salary somehow off the back end of that.
Sweet. Good for them.
I think their contracts were expiring.
Okay.
So I think it was like they had to re-sign them for next year anyway. And obviously
so-
coming off
alright.
the back of that, they also had their best result at a major. And
That's right,
Don't
okay.
take that for gospel, but I think that's what happened.
That's fine. You can't clip this out of context because nothing was even bad that was said. Get
Graham just
Yeah.
wrecked your clip.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I think that's what happened.
Okay. All right. Never
But yeah,
mind.
I think.
I heard something very similar to that as well.
I think that's what happened. I don't know what happened over the winter, but like I think a lot of teams just generally thought they could take our spot essentially. And ultimately, we had the best results of this half year, which is really not saying much because we've all kind of shit the bed really.
Everyone came in this year and just had a really shit start to the year.
When we sucked donkey dick at the start of the year.
But like that was expected. You guys were recovering from losing Elige. Yeah.
But I mean, we were still.
And there's two new guys.
We were still
haven't
putting up.
played any of the
we were still putting up like decent like double figure numbers against like Aurora, well, Fire back then, and we weren't like getting bombed out. Like we were still competitive, but like if we'd had the experience we had now back in January, which obviously is impossible, like I think we would have done a lot better at the start of the year, like a lot better. And we got to a point where we got pretty good, not perfect, and it certainly wasn't consistent, but we showed that we had a certain high level. But I think that's always been the issue with us as a team for the last 3.5 years, is that we've always been able to do the high level part. We've always shown glimpses of like, fuck, this team can play Counter-Strike, but at the same time it's like the next day they'll be like, did this team ever play Counter-Strike? We're very inconsistent, and we still have that, which is something we obviously need to keep working on. But I think we exceeded people's expectations based on the roster changes made and where they thought we were going to be at.
You guys were grinding a lot of online games there for a while as well.
No, we've.
Well, yeah, when you were on like a spree of online games.
Yeah, I mean, So we played the because the Bucharest qualifier was 32 teams.
Oh, there you go.
So we played.
That's a lot of games.
We had to play six BO3s to get through the Bucharest qualifier, because we played 4 in the groups and then semifinals, final.
Okay.
And then we went and played the Yellow Compass qualifier, which was 5 BO1s. So like our win streak looked insane.
Okay.
But I mean, like some of the teams we play against in North American qualifiers are not worth talking about.
Yeah.
And then I mean, the 5 teams we beat in Yellow Compass were decent. I mean, okay, we did play Imperial Valkyrie, so you can kind of chop that one off a bit, but I think we 13-0'd them. I think they got 13-0'd twice in 2 days. I don't say
their year's gone worse than yours. So,
I don't say that to be disrespectful. Like I appreciate them, but I mean, they probably shouldn't have been.
They didn't even win the most recent Impact season. They didn't even make the final.
No. But we had a very big win streak then at that point, and then from that point we went to Bucharest, and obviously did quite well there. We beat Falcons, beat Furia, beat FaZe, lost the G2, lost the FaZe. Beat Aurora in there as well. So like we took some pretty good like top 10 scalps, and we were playing pretty decently against those top 10 teams as well.
And you made Train your pick.
Yeah, we made Train our pick, which was nice. Taking him straight over from Vertigo, which I mean we expected
smart.
that. We expected that to happen. Just because JT always liked Train on his extra salt days and Card 9 days, so it was just like kind of the same thing again. We struggled at Melbourne a bit because we obviously had we arrived like 2 days later than every other team because we had to play the MRQ in North America. And Hallzerk and JT because on a P1 visa, even if you have a P1 visa, you can't transit via the USA.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? Say it again?
Yeah, so the P1 visa is an entry visa into the USA, but you can't transit on it. You have to have a separate transit visa. And JT's never had to transit outside of the USA because usually he just flies to the USA.
Yeah.
And because he was traveling with Hallzerk, because Hallzerk obviously doesn't have his P1 yet, they both went to Mexico to play the MRQ.
Okay, so then...
And then getting from Monterrey to Melbourne...
Without going through the States.
Is
not
next
easy.
to fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you can either go, like, south to like Chile, Santiago,
That's
and
a
then go
huge
across,
flight as well, though.
and then go. Yeah, it's like a 10-hour flight there. I mean, they flew from Monterrey direct to Madrid.
Wasn't it like a 38-hour trip?
Just let that sink in. They flew from Monterrey
to Madrid,
and then go to Australia,
and then Madrid to Dubai to Melbourne.
So they almost touched every continent in the globe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So they had, and they also. I think they landed at like.
Now you said this, I remember the tweets coming out of them travel day being like 40 hours.
Yeah, it was close to that, yeah. I think they landed in Madrid at like 5 a.m. and then they still had to wait till like 3 p.m. for their flight to Dubai. So like they went and got some sleep in an airport hotel. Like it wasn't ideal, but like we were basically torn between.
That's the understatement.
It wasn't ideal.
Fuck's sake, that's the lower third.
It wasn't ideal, but the alternative was going to Philadelphia without Hallzerk. So it's like yes, like if I suppose if you want to say like if you want to min max the VRS to that point, like maybe we should have gone to Frac.
Yeah.
Because we probably could have won like 4 or 5
Vegas,
land
right?
matches. Yeah, in Vegas. Yeah. We could have. Did they win?
I think so.
I'll look it up.
I think they won.
I think they won. Yeah,
I think they were there.
They're back in like the top 30 teams.
Yeah, they've been doing well now. Yeah. I mean, even back in like January, February, we were scrimming them. Like I talked to Snappy a lot. I'm good friends with Snappy, and like. They were playing really well in scrims. They just didn't have the opportunities, and because they were being forced to be playing with Jax. Like people were giving them forced. In the situation they were in at that point.
Their best
NIP. It was they did win. Okay. Oh yeah, they played Sharks. That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
I think it was a 3-0 final.
Yes, it was. The real final would have probably been NRG versus NIP, but I don't know what happened with NRG losing to Sharks. I think, right?
Yeah, they got third.
Yeah.
which is a rough one.
But yeah, I mean, like the two alternatives we had there, neither of them were perfect. But you know, we want to be.
I can't, Graham.
No,
You've got to come with a better description than that's not ideal and not perfect.
Well, I mean, all travel to Australia is not ideal.
Sure.
Like, I think that's pretty obvious
Wow.
from one thing. No offense, but like getting. I mean, I love it. I fucking love traveling, but it's not the best thing to do to perform within like a day of landing. But we want to be at the biggest events and we want to play against the best teams. So like we would prefer to go to an unideal travel day to go to Melbourne and fight out against the best teams than to go to Philadelphia easy and like
other words you could use like dog shit, nightmare,
complete catastrophe.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I actually don't think they had it that bad. Like no. I'm saying they actually had a very positive outlook about it all. Like they were because they were like, hey, like this is what we have to do because like it's not our situation. We haven't caused it. It's just what the situation is.
Yeah, but that's
what are we dealing?
That's when you turn to your boy and you're like, look, this next 40 hours is going to fucking suck.
Yeah.
So let's the two of us need to keep each other amped up. We're gonna be miserable and we're gonna hate it, but we have to stay positive this whole way.
Do you know what? They got to Dubai. I'd got there like half an hour before, and we were in Dubai, and I bought them. What's the American burger brand? It's like green color.
American Shake Shack.
Shake Shack. Five Guys.
Yeah, Shake Shack.
Damn, he gave us very little there.
He did. I don't know how you got that.
I told them, guys, there's a Shake Shack in Dubai airport. Come find me. I made them happy with some burgers, and do you know what? The flight from Dubai to Melbourne wasn't that bad. We had the entirety of premium economy to ourselves.
Do you know how wild this is? Hey guys, you can't actually travel through America, but what if when you get to Dubai, on the other side of the planet, I give you one of America's finest exports? Burgers.
And you know what? I'll spring. It'll be a double cheeseburger.
Do you even have fries?
Do you know what? I let them loose with the company card, and but yeah, so obviously they'd been traveling for like 26 hours by that point. By the time I met them in Dubai, and then we had the whole premium economy cabin to ourselves. It was like that we had like the middle 3 or middle 4 seats all to ourselves, like 5 rows or something. Yeah. So like we had some space, but premium economy you can't lift the arms up to like lay down. So we were still sat upright and everything, but it wasn't that bad.
At least you didn't have people next to you. That's the problem.
People next to you is the biggest issue.
All right, Graham. Enough small talk.
Yeah.
How do we fix North American Counter-Strike? What do we need to do? What are the first steps?
I was just going to say to him, if he didn't have budgetary problems and he couldn't take Twists, NAF, or Elige, right? He can't have those 3. Okay. He can have anybody else that he wants. He can use the base of his players right now, or he can just pick anything he wants.
But we have to create a safety net for him. You can only have.
So he has to create 2 teams.
No. I was going to say you can only pick 2 complexity players, because otherwise he'd have to pick all 5 of his components.
No, he doesn't.
He kind of does.
But he doesn't have to.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I like Nick and
Nick,
Nick and Danny know we were looking at other players. Like it's not it's not a secret to them. Like
you're settled on them, right? You're like.
All right, fine. Good point. Fuck them kids. Who do you want?
Well, I think,
dream team. Let's go.
I think we picked up the best 2 players that we could that were available, right? And that's good job me, happy days. Like that's all you can do. You can't pick up players that aren't available or whatever. So I've been open already. We tried to make some buyouts. We tried to wheel and deal and get some players in and whatever, and it didn't work for whatever reason. So, there definitely are players out there that we would like to work with, and the different constellations of teams. And I don't know how it would all play out, but I don't like getting put on the spot and not telling to replace my players. But it's not like they don't know that they weren't the number 1 choices at the time because they know that already. It's not a secret.
What about this then? What if I ask you this question?
Sure.
Of Lake, Swisher, and Wreck, which one do you think is the most valuable of those 3 players?
Lake, Swisher, Wreck.
Most valuable or most valuable to me?
Most valuable to you, but I didn't want to point that out, Graham.
Yeah, because I think most people would just instantly go on the record and I think most people would go on the record and just say like Lake because I think he's probably the most talented of the 3. But when you try and figure out like how they would fit into your team and where you may need the most help, I think you had it right there. I don't want to say it, but essentially that's the way I would look at it. Like,
especially because you were replacing Floppy, right? So Rex a good anchor.
Yeah. I mean, he
Just, I mean, how do you view that as a GM? Like, you kind of have to understand where the Counter-Strike meta is turning to and where you need to upgrade positions and what's going to be valuable in terms of a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think people do get a bit stuck in the roles kind of aspect. I think any player.
Thank
can
you.
I think any player can play any
so
roles.
fucking smart.
Like I think if you get the right player with the right mentality to give up their time and learn and to be humble and to like I think any player should be able to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. Like if you've got a player who's really fucking good at one thing, then
Should use him for that one.
You should probably try and use him for that one thing. But if you're in especially in a region like ours where like there isn't the free availability of all this talent, then I think players need to be humble enough to realize that, like, I'm really fucking good mechanically, and if I'm going to join a team with Grim on it, I might not be the number one guy because you can look at Grim like he's fucking sick, right?
Yeah.
So people need to have that level of humility and say, like, fuck, I want to be on the best team, but I might not get the best roles, or I might not get the best positions, and I might not get the best stats, but like the team is going to do better, and I'm going to do better because the team's going to do better, and we're going to make a fuckload of sticker money, and happy days, right? So that's basically Counter-Strike.
I guess it's different for the smaller regions, though, right? Because in Europe, it is almost like a jigsaw puzzle. If you're a certain player profile, there's going to be a lot of different opportunities for you. But the same thing in Australia, it's like, okay, well, Nedic plays this way. Does that mean they can't use him in the team? Or does that mean that somebody else is going to change their role? Or is Nedic going to do something different, right? And it's like, I can see that there. It's like, if you want to be on the best team and you're a talented player, you are either going to have to learn a new position or you're going to have to work out how you can fit into that recipe for it to be successful. But it's like, it's tough because even if I sat here and I thought, okay, so I go with the same rules, and I was excluding Elige, NAF, and Twist, and I was trying to make the best 5, and I was just trying to make it American. I'll keep Hallzerk in there because,
give it to him.
We're going to keep Hallzerk.
Yeah, keep JT in there as well then?
We can keep JT too. I think otherwise, in-game leader-wise, it's pretty tough too.
Oppers and IGLs in the States.
I mean, you've got Nitro and Stan.
Yeah, you do, but both of them also bombed out. So and JT has better flashes than both of them. So
I agree.
Yeah, there you go. So let's just say you kept those two. I think you have to have Grim, and then outside of that, like it would.
So we're starting with the roster of Hallzerk, Jim, and JT.
Yeah, and then like you've got,
which is the same question you tried to ask me before.
I think you got like JBA, right?
Yeah. So you've got JBA and Rek as your anchors. You've got Lake and George as your kind of
George had a great game today.
I think George has been playing well. Yeah, I think George has been.
So there are options, but it's just about like being able to get these. But then the thing is,
I mean, if he's telling me that the contract buyouts are more than what a top 5 team is going to make in a year, then like, do you really have options?
Right? Think about these orgs. Fucking every post from NRG has Shaquille O'Neal because that's the only thing that they have going for them, right? Like, what else are they going to talk about? So they obviously have some backing of money.
They had a great Overwatch team, I'll say that.
Look, I understand why teams don't want to let go of their players, in the same way that I wouldn't want to let one of my players go to a domestic rival as well.
Do you worry about that?
I mean, my players have set buyouts, and I'm pretty open with them. Like, if they get offers, they're welcome to explore them. Like,
because that's the other flip
it's always
side
been
of this, right?
It's always been that way. Like I'm never going to be someone who wants to keep a player here if they feel like their future lies elsewhere. We've had offers before. I mean, like long time ago, we had teams come in for Floppy, come in for Fang.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think last year we had a team come in for Grim as well.
Sure.
And the only time that one of them wanted to leave, we actually let him negotiate with the other team, but it was conditional on us being able to replace him. And ultimately, I wasn't able to do that.
Okay.
Not because I couldn't find a player who was not better than him or something like that. I just couldn't replace them and maintain like the roster basically.
Because it feels like the player that I would assume that he's talking about would be Grim to M80 for Mouse.
Ooh.
Oh, we also had offers for Elige, obviously, as well.
Yeah. That would surprise me.
Like,
that time it could have,
Grim for Malbs.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably well off, but...
Yeah, interesting.
I'm normally off.
Okay.
Yeah, I just...
Wait, sorry, which one are you referencing?
Maybe when did Elige leave again?
This was this winter.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so it could have been Elige to M80 for Mouse.
Interesting.
Elige had a few offers over that summer break.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah.
Well,
how was that?
I would have loved to have kept him through to Austin. They would have been nice.
Yeah.
But then, to be completely honest, his contract was expiring in 3 weeks now. So, we would have come into that basically.
It would have been a weird cloud over the team, anyways.
Yeah, kind of knowing that he was going to leave most likely, and I think that it worked out well for him to go to FaZe. I think it worked out well for us to get a bit of money in and to be able to rebuild a little bit. But obviously, it would have been nice to come in to this event with what you perceive as like the best roster.
He was on the team for about a year.
Year and a half, about 18 months. Yeah, he joined summer.
That's right. Started CS2.
Summer 23 and left in winter of 24. So
how was that year and a half?
I liked it. I learned a lot from John. I really respect John a lot. I think he taught me a lot about things that I wasn't expecting to learn about from a player. If that makes sense. Just little things about like how to work with a player, or how to work with players in general. Like kind of like openness, things like that, and like how you can learn a lot from certain conversations. And like him and I had some bust ups. Like we definitely didn't see eye to eye on some things, and we definitely had to like talk things through. And we definitely had a few little shouts at each other because I think it was nice to work with someone who's maybe a bit more challenging. And I don't mean that he was challenging, but like he was willing to challenge.
Sure, he wasn't just a submissive member of the team.
Yeah, whereas we have on the team, or typically the players I've worked with have been a lot more kind of like they'll go with the flow and things like. Whereas he was like, actually, no, I don't like this. Like this, like we should be doing things differently. Sure. So I liked that bit of like challenging from him, that it was able to sort of like push the boundaries and sort of like push back on me a little bit and be like, we should try and do things differently. We should try and improve this and that and things like that. So I appreciate that. Like it's nice to have him on the team.
I mean, he's a smart guy, and he's one of those guys who just maximizes
super
small
smart,
percentages.
Min-maxing everything. Like, I really respected his work ethic and the way he approached the game and things like that. I've never seen anyone sort of be that sort of not obsessive, but like meticulous. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't like he was like encapsulated in it, but like everything he did was like purposeful. It was like so like everything. There was no wasted time. And like he would always. He'd always be loading up his iPad with VODs to watch on the plane. Like it didn't stop for him. Like there was no off time. Like, he was like, okay, I'm traveling for 11 hours. I'm going to watch 3 hours of POVs and then get some sleep. He was always thinking about the game, how the next step. So having a guy like him, also someone else that people can look up to, and follow.
Sure.
And see like, hey, like fuck, this guy's one of the best guys in the game, and this is what he's doing. I have to be. The next level to keep up with that. So, I think working with John was really nice.
Cool.
I do, I have some regrets that, obviously we weren't able to be more successful with him because obviously I think he got, I think he got shafted in the HLTV top 20 last year. I think he was easily a top 10 player. Based on his performances alone.
You're talking to me about top 20. I work at the
Chad
show.
can't be fucked with us.
No. I work on the show.
Yeah.
For me, top players is whatever. I give a fuck about trophies. That's what I care
I think. Well, that's the thing is that because we weren't competing for those trophies.
Sure.
Because we as a team, like if we had like better results, he would have been a top 10 player easily.
Well, that's always the criticism of that, right? Is like it is an individual award, but it takes into account team accomplishments.
Exactly. Like I think he as an individual rifler last year was like easily a top 5 rifler. Like easily a top 5 rifler, and we didn't give him the platform to essentially earn those accolades because we weren't competing in the playoffs every event. Sure. So that's where most of my regrets come from, and that's unfortunate. And we had a really good time for 18 months, and sorry to see him go,
it's
but
great
also,
18 months.
Also happy to see him go. And I mean, I'm not going to use the word flourish because like their first 6 months on FaZe hasn't been.
It's been very rocky,
but like allow him the opportunity to go and try.
He thought he was going to go join a team and win some trophies.
Well, they made another change.
They did make another change.
We'll see that simple way. Did you prank FaZe at all?
Yes. I remember. I just didn't.
I just double thumbs up.
I think 1 or 2 were close. I just didn't remember getting 24'd by them. As in 20-4 on one map. I can't remember which map it was. But one map they completely just fucking railed us on.
Yeah, I've been hearing that from a lot of teams.
I've been hearing the opposite from some others.
But like,
really?
But some of them were quite close as well. So I think we took like Falcons quite close on some maps as well.
Yeah.
Like our scrim performances, like there was a few that were like.
Watch the headline of this.
There was a few that were fucking terrible. But like on the general like scale, like I feel like we were playing pretty well. But scrim performances and the end score doesn't really tell the full tale of how things are going.
Yeah, I saw you replying to a headline the other day, right? It was like a hex.
Oh, it was a hex.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it was just factually wrong.
Oh, okay.
Like,
did you see what hex said?
No, I didn't.
He made a comment. I don't know. You replied to it, so
it was basically like, we scrimmed complexity a lot, and generally we win most of them. I was like, we played 5. It was 2-2 and 1, like 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 3 of them were the first day that Junior played with us.
Oh, okay.
And JT was on 130 ping.
Okay.
And then I think the end result of the maps of the rounds was like 61 to 59.
Okay. Yeah, give all the details. I want to know the pings. I want to know the location. Mexico City.
I'm like, I get it. You want to like big yourself up and stuff, but like, it was just a weird comment to make.
Sure.
Like, I don't quite get it. But he was respectful in the other parts of the interview as well. Like the headline was the dumb part, but obviously the headlines are always the headlines. Like I don't have
the headlines are always the dumb.
I don't have any ill wishes to him.
True words have never been spoken.
I don't know if he just remembers the scrims differently, but it is what it is. Scrim results will never matter ever in this industry. It was just a bit of a weird comment.
Scrim bucks. They've never been worth anything.
No, but people
I had
love
some
to
really
collect.
good practices back in my day, Jason.
Yeah, I had some great
either.
practices myself back in 2004.
Worth nothing. How long have we been going for?
About an hour and 24 minutes.
That's a long one.
Yeah. Well, we have one last question that has yet to be answered, which is how do we fix North American Counter-Strike?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got in the way of that.
How has this become a North American Counter-Strike talking counter and not we've just
talk about British
and not like we've just finished stage 1 of the major, maybe we want to talk about that.
Oh, do you
Because
want to talk about
I don't
that?
get to talk to. We don't get to talk to people. We don't get guests that are like the organizational side and that are as intelligent and smart and
Wow,
charming
that's flattering.
as you are when it comes to your knowledge of how the scene operates and is structured.
So willing to talk.
Give away. Well, you do your own podcast.
They've plied me with drinks, guys. I'm under the influence. They just wheelchaired me in after.
He's had so
plying
much
me with
pink
liquor.
grapefruit electrolyte is unbelievable.
Jeez.
Do you know, I've got Mountain Dew here.
Mountain Dew's.
We're not sponsored by anyone like that, so it's fine.
Okay.
But I've got the.
We're not
Never forget the old Miller Lite controversy.
No. I've got the. They do an alcoholic version of it.
Hell yeah,
What?
dude. Welcome to
What Mountain
America,
Dew?
man. Freedom.
Yeah. I went to the
I
store.
thought you already made yours with that.
I was walking past the glass cabinets, I was like, I'm interested in beer, and out of my corner of my eye I just saw this logo. I was like, what's that doing in that cupboard? And I looked at it, I was like, ooh.
What was that drink Harry made with
wasn't
Mountain
it
Dew?
tequila
It was
and Mountain
tequila
Dew?
and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And it was
sounds good.
Oddly,
I'm a tequila man.
it doesn't sound good. But
What
it was
did we-
oddly
what did you
decent.
call it?
It was oddly
No, but
decent.
what do you typically mix with like tequila? It's like lemon juice, right? So I mean,
I don't know, I just do
citrusy
tequilas.
flavors.
I just do straight tequila.
Yeah.
But I also
Yeah,
do
I
tequila.
love-
don't
I
really
love
drink a
tequila.
lot.
A spicy marg is one of my new favorite drinks. I've been really enjoying those
Spicy
out
ones, a
here.
bit like chili flakes.
Yeah,
or
it's
something?
like jalapeno
Oh,
tequila.
Ooh, okay,
yeah, it's nice. They have it all over the place. Yeah, tahini on the
Okay.
rim.
When we went to Mexico for all those RMRs. Oh.
Okay, wait. How do we fix North American Counter-Strike? Because I know it doesn't involve tequila.
So I mean,
Well, maybe it does.
so I don't know how you fix it because.
What's the first step? What do we need more than anything else?
So first step is we need more competition. Like we need like fucking CCTs every fucking week. We need tournaments all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like the reason why we're not able to climb in the rankings, the reason why we're not able to do anything is because we don't have any events to play. Like there should be matches to play every like week.
First of all, how many teams do you think there are? First of all, let's go with a professional basis. Then we'll talk semi-professional basis in the US.
Professional is like what 6, I think.
So you guys,
is
NRG, M80,
Wildcard, Blue Jays.
didn't they pull out?
They've got a team,
Okay.
and I think technically Marsborn.
Okay. You heard of those guys?
I think
Didn't think
technically Marsborn. They came second at Frag. They lost to Blue Jays in the final.
Okay. So
they're pretty decent.
6
Yeah,
professional teams.
Yeah, I think 6 teams that are paid like
Okay, salary teams.
four-figured salaries.
Okay.
Let's say. I think some of them are on the lower end of that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I think that's also part of the issue. Is I think right now there's too many teams that are the same level,
Yeah.
and we need a
someone at the top of the pecking order.
pyramid.
This is why I said earlier that NA Counter-Strike is just turning into Brazilian Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
where apparently the buyouts and the money and the financial
Yeah,
contractual
I think-
sucks, and every team is mediocre at best.
Yes, I think if you want to get like a world-beating Counter-Strike team, there needs to be some consolidation of talent across sort of the 4 main teams. Let's say that would be one thing to get like competitive individual teams.
Sure.
But what we need is more teams, and what we need is more opportunities. Like that's one thing we identified, obviously, and I'm not going to do a shout out, but the Revival Cups.
You can
that
shout
we've-
it out.
we've been running. Yeah.
No, do a shout out, yeah.
The Prize Picks Revival Cups by Prize Picks.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love Prize Picks Revival Cup.
yeah.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Just watch it.
So we've been trying to run those to try and put some VRS points, put some money on the table, give teams more opportunities to play. We need more of that. Like we need way more than that.
You had a lot of complications getting that off the ground, though. Like when you're saying we need more competition, I feel like you guys had, because you did that with Flom, right? Didn't you guys
Yeah,
have
so-
all those issues with like the way the VRS was structured that you couldn't?
Well, they kept changing the fucking rules, Jason.
Why you say it like me like that?
No, like we were about to announce it, and then Valve just suddenly changed the tier 2 rules,
Yeah.
so that all of a sudden the format that we planned out didn't work. And then because then we had to rearrange, and then you have a 2-month lead time.
Uh-huh.
Then all of a sudden you're rearranging it, and then they fucking changed the rule back anyway. So now we've gone back to the old format. Like, you know, it's not like they targeted us specifically,
Right.
and they did grant us an exception for the one that we had already like announced that was now under the new rules that wasn't under and whatever. But
Right.
yeah, when the introduction of VRS came out, we had to rethink things a little
Yeah.
bit, and yeah, I think we've now got 6 planned for the rest of this year, 6
for
or
the rest
7.
of the year. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're almost doing like one a month. I think something.
What
some
is
months
the
doing 2 a month.
format of it exactly? Is it like a 2-week online?
Can't do leagues
Assuming
anymore.
assuming nobody changes the rules, touch wood. We've gone back to the old format, which is 6 teams invited. That was the bit that got fucked up. Was they said you had to invite like 8 teams or something, and we had to change
Yeah.
things around. 6 teams invited who play BO3s on Saturday, Sunday, like straight single elimination. So like 4 quarterfinals and then 2 semis and a final on the second day, and then the first day is an open qualifier.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
Full open qualifier on the Friday, 2
Yeah.
teams go progress, and then quarterfinals, semifinals, final. So really simple. We had to change it to like best of 1 round robin, like GSL groups or something, because of the amount of invited teams we were allowed. We had to reduce
Sure.
things. It got all a bit fucky, really. But that was only for like the 3 we ran or the 2 we ran before. We had
Yeah.
to cancel one recently because teams were like, "Hey, we're going to the major." Like we thought we could maybe squeeze one in on like the 31st of May, 1st, 2nd, but like yeah, we didn't get.
Do you
teams.
guys do you see a lot of traffic, a lot of teams signing up, a lot of players trying to sign up for the qualifier and everything?
I'm going to be honest. I barely pay attention to it.
Okay.
You know, I send all the retweets and stuff, but
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
not part of my daily remit to be.
Yeah, you're not part of the
like,
operating.
Like we obviously have a part to play in it, but like the actual operations is all done by Mythic League,
Yeah.
like, which kind of sucks. Like we basically help promote it, but like we're not allowed to compete in it.
Yeah, of course.
so like we're basically giving free points to all of our competitors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
Which is not ideal.
That's
but
weird.
It's better that we do that for the sake of North American Counter-Strike than it is to be petty and.
That
not
sounds like a
run it.
very
Jason-like
self-sacrificing play
But,
there.
so you've got
Yeah.
that, then you've got frags,
Yeah.
then you've got Launders lands. I don't know how frequently they're happening.
Don't count that yet.
Okay.
Not that I don't appreciate it, but I think they're going to have. I don't know if that's where Launders wants to take it in terms of a VRS event. I have no idea.
The last one was a VRS, right? It had a lot of issues, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a VRS event.
Yeah.
I don't know how consistent that's going
Well,
to be.
didn't it get VRS
got-
ranking
I
removed
think so because
Yeah.
there was some
because of the issues? Yeah.
I mean, they had to reschedule, I think, like a whole half day or something like that.
But then, okay, so in terms of what level of events are you talking about?
Like CCT, just like constant leagues.
So online?
Yeah, online. Yeah.
Okay, so
just,
how do you-
just
how-
places for people to play.
So isn't there a market for that? Because most of that is backed by gambling, right? But the fact that people are willing to bet on events, or it's America.
America. Dude, if we could have gambling sponsors, we would have no financial issues at all. Jason's got countless gambling sponsors ready to come up, and then
Chad,
as soon
if
as
we
it
had
comes down to
gambling
signing,
sponsors, we would have no financial issues either.
No, but we don't want to do like case opening roulette
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah.
We would happily take a sports betting
Yes.
sponsor, but we're not
Yeah.
going to take a fucking.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's the kind of people Jason has offers from sports betting companies, but
Can't do it.
as soon as it comes down to like signing with a North American organization, a US organization, things sort of start to deravel a bit, you know.
But hasn't it? I mean, I feel like I should know this, but hasn't it been? I'm asking foreigners about this, but hasn't it been legalized in certain places in the country?
Not something
You're
like
asking
not,
foreign.
I think that's on like a state
that
by
the
state
politically
basis,
correct
isn't it,
term?
right? Like there might be like a few states have opened up to it, but
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, again, you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Assumed as
generally, like a lot of the companies when they see like, oh, we don't want to be involved in the US organization, and it's like that's
But
just a dead stop.
Couldn't they still run? Like, couldn't CCT, for example, run North American CCT events and then?
I mean, it'd be nice if they just ran the amount they said they were going to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Like we've had like a lot. Like initially they announced like 8 cups and we got 4 and like.
Yeah, I heard about
but,
that.
It's also it's hard to get people to invested into watching North American Counter Strike. That's
Yeah, but
just part of the
people,
problem.
degenerate gamblers will watch anything.
That's what I'd like to think.
They do. They watch
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
They
yeah.
watch the
And they'll
one.
gamble.
I think our viewership is propped up by degenerate gamblers quite enough
A
at the
portion
moment.
of that,
Yeah.
like,
Honestly, like the entire CS ecosystem would probably implode if there wasn't degenerate gamblers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, not the whole premise of the game, but a premise of the game. People do it as a hobby, like own a pixel.
Yeah.
But you're playing roulette.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I just want to clarify, I have absolutely nothing wrong with fully legalized licensed gambling. That is completely fine.
I like that you looked
either.
into the camera for that one. You gave it like the whole, not the thumbs up, but it's a new one.
I think the problem is it's when it's promoted to children or when it's unregulated and doesn't require like a passport
Absolutely.
or whatever. And then that brings
Yeah,
issues.
and we still see teams taking money from those kind of companies these days. And
Yes.
it's like, some of these organizations are taking like 2, 3, 4 million a year from some of these companies, and we don't have access to that pot of gold. And sometimes we go up against a team and they spent $1 million on a buyout for a player, and you're sitting there like, oh fuck, that'd be nice.
Yeah, you're not the first like organization that I've heard like talk about how it's just like I have to compete with like all this like crazy gambling money, all this like shady money coming from different places, and they're and I'm trying to run a legit business.
Can I just I'll put my hands up and say like I fully understand that we were a partner team for 4 years, like 3 years under my thing. So I understand we had a certain level of financial boost that other teams did not have access to. Like, I'm not going to fucking skirt around that. Like, we did that. Yeah. It was good. We operated responsibly, within our means and whatever. Partnership leagues, I think, are a little bit different to unregulated gambling sponsorships.
Just a little bit.
But I do just want to put my hands up and say, like, I'm not fucking like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, I fully understand that we also had a lot of those benefits or access to money that was not accessible to other people. Like, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. But I just want to hold my hands up and say, like, I fully understand that we did the same thing.
But it's a weird situation, all of this, right? Because like a lot of the things that are moral grounds that some people have a problem with and some people don't. The amount of emails that I'm sure that Jason probably gets the same ones I do of these companies who want to give you money just to do like an article or a tweet or whatever. Yeah. And it's a lot of money, right? And the thing is with it, it's like, well, I don't want to do that. Like that's not what I want to take, right? And otherwise, I could do it, and then I could do it for a couple of years, and then I could be, well, I don't have to do Counter-Strike anymore, but I want to do Counter-Strike, so I don't want to do that. Which it's each to their own. I don't judge other people for doing that thing,
for making their own decisions.
Right? It's up to everybody to make their own choices in this world, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and we're choosing.
We're choosing
to take
be poorer.
6 figures a month.
It's not the moral high ground because it's just we're just choosing this path. One of the many paths in life. Yeah.
But what about the one with all the money?
I don't know. We have to find that path. That path is hidden. That's like the side quest. But actually, that's the fucking main quest.
I thought all talent got paid extremely handsomely.
Oh, well, I get paid pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jason.
I get paid.
I think they take most of the money they pay me out of everybody else's salary. So that's not how it happens, but
Yeah, this year they came up to me and they were like, Chad negotiated an increase in his rate, so we're going to have to dock you like maybe 3%.
I've heard that one before,
That's why Dinko doesn't get hired anymore. They took all of his
Dinko's
rate,
budget.
and I just get all
Dinko's budget went to Chad.
That's
sad state of affairs. Unless you're Chad.
Yeah, it's great for me. I don't have any children, no pets, no dependents.
How much tax do you pay in Malta?
Very, very limited.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain the
Maltese tax
way
system.
that it functions.
But it's low. The overall number is low.
It's quite low.
Yeah. Do you want to come live in Denmark?
No. That's I don't want to live in Denmark.
Did you guys have like 150% tax on cars or something like that over there?
I mean, the car I bought wasn't that expensive.
Is it 150% tax on cars?
They have like some kind of crazy tax if you bring a car in from outside of like Denmark, if you buy it from like Germany or something.
There's some like import taxes and stuff. But
it's something wild.
Denmark's trying to be pretty eco-conscious. I can't tell you the full thing, right? But like I think like certainly like petrol cars especially, they have like pretty high taxes on it because they're trying to like push people towards hybrids and EVs and stuff like that. I got myself a hybrid. It's got like it's actually a joke of a hybrid. It's got like the smallest little hybrid engine, like little electric engine. So it counts as a hybrid. It will always count as a hybrid. But I mean, for the stuff we do, like me and my wife, like just going like to and from work on a daily basis, and like taking the kids to the nursery and stuff. Like actually, we pretty much only use the electric. I got the electric installed last actually like middle of May, and we haven't paid for petrol since. So it's been a pretty good investment. And like sometimes I'm paying like cents, like single figure cents for electricity for like a kilowatt, and it only takes like 9 kilowatts. So I spend like 10 cents on electricity for a whole day of using the car.
That's legit.
I mean, I can't beat that.
When I was back in Australia, not the most recent time, but the time around Christmas, I hired a car then, and the car that I got from the dealership, I didn't ask for it, but it was the same thing. It was like hybrid, and because I was only driving like to and from these short locations, I never had to use any gas.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. I was like, this is fucking sick. Like, this is really good. And then when I came back this time, I did a lot of driving, and I was using my mum's car, which isn't
it's a gas guzzler.
Jesus.
Guzzling petrol.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane.
And that is why Jason will be taking down the Trump poster and keeping the Elon one.
I don't know, man.
got
Let's
a
see.
Mars.
Let's see
Jason
what.
wants to
Let's
go
see
to
how the.
Mars.
Let's see how the next 4 weeks go. You know.
Just think about how the major goes. Hey, Trump banned like 12 countries from entering. When I saw that, it
Chad
didn't
was
post
so
their
panicked.
countries. I was like, oh my god.
He was going through this list and he was like, "Oh, thank God, no one from the majors from any of these companies."
Oh,
I'm
no.
like,
Well, the majors
I'm actually super shocked that everyone's got in.
Yeah, me too.
I was
am too.
expecting like there's a few certain words that you can't say at American immigration.
Bomb.
Like
terrorist.
so no. Well, okay,
the big two.
There's a few more words than that. But like even like with guys with like P1 visas.
Oh, work.
Yeah. So guys with
Yeah.
P1 visas.
Business, not work.
So guys with P1 visas, they don't have residence in the USA. Right? It's not a residence visa. It's a non-immigrant visa. They don't
Okay,
have residence.
I'm following.
So in a convoluted way, while they have an address where they sleep, they don't live in the USA. They don't reside in the USA.
Yeah.
So if someone says like, "Why are you coming back into the USA?" and you say, "I live here," no, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
Right? And then anyone traveling on a B1 visa, if they say like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming here to work," and that's a no-no because you're not coming to work.
Yeah.
Like there are so many little things you can say when you enter the USA that if you say the wrong thing on the wrong type of visa, even if it may be like completely
wrong agent.
logical, they could pick you up on it quite quickly. I'm
Yeah.
shocked. I'm shocked that every player got in here because like if they say like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming here to work. I work as a professional computer gamer and I'm coming here to earn prize money," like to me that would be like alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like I hope that people got briefed.
Well, they must have been.
Apparently,
Otherwise they wouldn't
yeah.
have gone in the country.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
I should clarify that I do think that it is actually correct to come here on a B1 visa.
That's what the Brazilians have, right?
That I can't speak for that. I know some of them have got P1s.
I thought that Pitt tweet. No, one not Pitt. One
No,
of the players tweeted.
some of them have definitely used B1s
Yeah.
in the past. The reference I have for this is the UK government's website specifically states like it has like a bunch of like examples. One of them is like, I am a player on a football team. That's soccer for you Americans, football team.
You gave the whole American accent with that too, didn't you?
And I'm going to the USA to play in a football tour or match. What visa do I need? B1. Like it's very clear. Like it says, as long as your salary is a foreign income, like not USA based, and you're going there for like one thing and coming back, they say you can use a B1 visa. So you wouldn't need a P1 visa for that.
Sure.
But if you're employed by an American company, you definitely need a P1 visa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they had to get
yeah.
for E-League.
Yeah.
It was all P1 visas.
The talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be O1 for talent, wouldn't it?
I thought so because of the entertainment visa.
Yeah. P1's professional
yeah.
athlete.
Good point,
O1
right.
is like outstanding broadcaster and other things. I think.
Fucking bunch of wankers. That's what it should be.
Just
called.
too many fucking visas.
Yeah. So, I don't think that people entering on a B1 visa is incorrect, but there are certainly things you can say while entering on a B1 visa
That
that
can get you
will raise
tagged.
red flags.
And it also depends on like the strength of your passport too. Like I understand that you have the visa when you're coming in, but if you have a stronger passport and a country that is held in higher regard,
Yeah.
You're gonna have an easier time.
Like the United Kingdom.
Or Australia.
I don't even have to talk to... Well, you have a British passport as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't even have to talk to a gate agent anymore.
Really? What do you
No,
do?
global entry.
Wait, I can get global entry?
As a
Oh,
British
man.
person, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in.
Yeah. So you,
Oh,
so you
American
literally
vacation.
Just sign up for it on the global entry website.
Yeah.
You'll get a background check done in the UK, which will do absolutely nothing. You pay like
Killed it.
$50 for it.
I never even lived
and
there.
then you just do an interview on arrival the next time you come to the USA after you get approved, and then they'll just like ask you a few questions about why you're coming to the USA, and then you say, yeah, I come here like frequently for like business negotiations and things like that, and business meetings, and then
They're in.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
literally you can walk up to a kiosk. It goes, "Welcome back, Mr. Pitt." You will take a little receipt sometimes to the guy, and he goes, "Oh, cool."
Really?
And that's it.
Sick.
I
So
don't have to answer a
Global
single
entry is
question.
pretty legit.
It's pretty
Yeah.
easy for me anyway.
It's
I don't-
fucking insane.
Did I tell the story about fist bumping the guy? I think I did.
Yeah, you did, because that was before Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when I came in, I was talking to the guy, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm here for a video game event, and then I'm going to go up to my mate's place in Grand Rapids." And he was like, "Oh, Grand Rapids. There's a presidential library there that you should visit." And now we're talking about that. Then he's like, "Oh, do you have a phone?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, get it." Oh no, he goes, "Do you have a device that can access the internet?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, do this." And I'm
Very
sorry.
politically correct of him.
You can tell that guy's had to deal with some people before,
Yeah.
like some special people.
And then he's like, "Yeah, have a good day, man." And like we fist bumped.
oh,
So
that's a pretty good. That's
I
a pretty
feel
good
like
U.S. immigration officer.
Yeah.
His
It
last
is.
name was Kramer.
What are they called? Are they called ICE? Is it ICE? No,
No, that's
CBP.
For, yeah,
CBP.
yeah. Yep.
Customs and Border Patrol.
Ice.
ICE.
A little bit of controversy with that one.
ICE is the opposite one. They're the ones
Yes,
letting people out.
they
of the
are.
country.
Yes, they are.
sorry,
They're
my
throwing
bad,
people
my
out.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, get global entry, Chad. It's really easy.
Nice.
And you also get included with your global entry, which lasts for 5 years. You get TSA pre-check.
I'm glad you waited 2
Wow.
hours. I'm glad you waited 1 hour and 45 minutes to give us some good news. Chad can get global entry with his British passport.
And I can get
We needed
pre-check.
that. Yeah, and pre-check.
Yeah, you get pre-check, and it lasts for 5 years, which
That's
is
amazing.
That's pretty
definitely
sick.
worth it.
You should come back.
For the
Yeah, I
amount of times we don't have events in North America, it's definitely worth it.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've taken enough of your time. Unless you have any final.
I literally have all night. Like I'm hungry, but I'm
Okay, well, that was me trying to leave.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
placing it on you.
That's fine. You can.
I'm hungry too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my last night in Austin. What should I get? I just want to preface this, but I've been eating a lot of tacos.
Okay.
Can I just? Well, I was going to say tacos because I personally, I'm saying this at the end of the podcast. I hate Texas barbecue. I hate it.
That's the thing I had on the first day.
Korean
I came
barbecue
with a
is the
heart-
best barbecue.
Korean barbecue
And
is the
every
best
other barbecue is not worth talking
Is
about.
there a good Korean barbecue in
I have no idea.
Texas?
I have no idea.
So what I tend to do when I travel is I like to try and eat a little bit locally, but what I really like to do is eat stuff I don't get at home.
100%.
Like,
Yeah. Get our hot dogs. They're 10 times better than Danish hot dogs.
wow, that is a controversial statement.
That's not
I should
controversial.
clarify, like,
It's not fucking controversial at all.
I am not like a super hot dog lover, so like it's not going to offend
That's
me.
because you eat Danish hot dogs. Try the American ones. You're going to be a hot dog lover. You're going to love them wieners.
I love a wiener. Yeah, I try to eat things that like I can't get very easily in Denmark. So like, one thing that always gets me
Mountain Dew alcohol.
is wings. Like you can't
sure.
get wings.
Chicken wings, yeah.
Like to be able to get wings is like something that's something.
I bet they have great wings somewhere in this town. Don't go to like a chain, but I bet somewhere there's some like really good dry rub wings.
sushi. You guys do good
Oh,
sushi.
Denmark has really good sushi.
Stuff.
Yeah, really
Sticks
good
and
sushi.
We go
Yeah.
to all the time when we're there.
It's a classic.
Sticks of sushi is really good.
I don't know about Korean barbecue in Denmark though.
No, there's one that's opened up in Copenhagen, but I don't live in Copenhagen anymore. So I haven't been there yet, but I'm trying to get the wife down there.
What about a burrito? Vastly different from a taco.
So different.
Yeah, it's got a different delivery system. A whole change
So
of experience.
I like burritos a lot.
Do you remember?
They shut
Bay
down.
Area burrito.
But they shut down, I think.
They did
Yeah,
a couple
they
years ago.
Yeah. I love Bay Area burritos.
So hard with the pandemic for him.
Let me head off to Rudolfsplatz and get a Bay Area burrito.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham used to be.
He nailed it. Yeah.
Wait, which place did you live in?
I lived in Kalk.
Okay, that's where close to where Russia lives. No, Russia. The Kalk's at the north. Jason,
Yeah.
if you're thinking about it, right? So if this is Cologne, we cross the bridge. The office is over here now.
I'm
Yeah.
east of Lanxess.
Yeah,
There you
you're-
go.
you're
Yeah.
easy,
I'm on the
yeah.
9 line.
This
It's a
is
nice
the-
area.
The one, yeah, it's all right.
It's
It was,
a bit removed. It's not really.
yeah, I
considered
mean, it was
Cologne.
right. It was right next to a
Okay.
hospital, which was really helpful for me.
Yeah, were you in the hospital all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, I was being joke. I was
No.
Don't you feel like an asshole? What are we in the hospital?
I've got a repetitive injury in my shoulder from actually ironically playing American football. So I played rugby for years when I was a kid, right?
Makes sense.
No injuries. I broke a toe
And
here
rugby
and there,
players
but,
just cannot handle American
broken
football.
toe here
I'm
and
just
there.
kidding. I'm just kidding, rugby players. That's a fucking joke.
So I played a lot of contact sports and never had any really serious injuries. And then I'm trying to tackle someone with my American football pads on, and my shoulder just gets levered behind the pad.
Oh.
And I didn't dislocate it, but like I partially dislocated it, and it got to
Sure.
a point where I had to sort of like just knock it back. I had one surgery to fix that. And then it came out again. So I had a second surgery to fix that.
Yeah.
And then I was doing some lat pull downs in the gym, and I was just doing a warm up set, and I just let the bar go back up, and it just
Oh
sucked
my
So
God.
I'm holding onto the bar,
Because you can't control your hand because your arm's out of.
and my arm's like hanging there. I'm like, oh, okay, my shoulder's dislocated. That's cool. So I'm like letting my arm down, and I walked back to my apartment. And walked over to the hospital, and I was like, "Meine Schule Luxuaction," which is like my shoulder's dislocated. And they were like, "Was?" I'm trying to explain. My shoulder is kaput.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've seen that has to hurt like hell.
No, actually, it's literally like.
Well, no pain. That's
Dude,
something.
I've seen Lethal Weapon. It hurt Mel Gibson.
The injury itself was painful. Like I got
not the
I got to
follow-up?
such a point where my shoulder basically was like a slip and slide. So because it dislocated so often, the top of the humeral head, like it's a ball and socket joint. The top of the humeral head was basically like I was missing like the knuckles. So like it basically had like there was no bone left, and then the same thing happened to the socket where there was no soft tissue, and I'd worn away some of the bone because it kept sliding out. So it kept like grinding away to the point where
not
like,
hungry anymore.
I would roll over in bed.
I kind of want some bone marrow.
I would legit roll over in bed. I'd wake up and my shoulder would be dislocated.
Oh, God.
And I'd be like, off to the hospital again. I went there like 30 times in like 3 months.
Holy shit.
And they'd look at me and just be like, for fuck's sake. And do you know the worst thing is? Every night you spend for the first time you go to hospital in Germany, if you stay there overnight, you pay like a €10. Like it's like you don't pay it like every single night. If you're there for like months, you don't pay it. But like the first night you go there, you pay like €10.
So you kept paying €10.
Yeah. Honestly, financially, could not keep up
Well,
with
in
it.
America, you would be homeless. So you're lucky it's only €10.
Yeah, it
Not
was,
if you
it,
had
was really,
insurance.
it was really annoying. It was like, if you stayed there for like a long enough period, they stopped charging it to you. But like for like the first few nights or something, you paid like a €10 like kind of entrance fee. And because it always happened like at night, they'd always keep me overnight because they got to the point where they had to put me to sleep because the muscles weren't relaxing enough. So they'd have
Holy shit, dude.
they'd have to do general anesthetics, let everything relax to then
It's
put it back in.
2025. Just have them cut it off and put a metal arm on there.
Well, no, so
Go
this,
fucking
so this
Marvel.
was in the last operation I had was in 2014. So I had two in 2011 and one in 2014. And
Okay.
the 2014 was done by this German guy who was regarded as the crazy guy. Like shit you not, he's like a professor of like shoulder surgery, but they referred to him internally as like, oh yeah, he's crazy, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it keyhole, just like through 2 holes and fix it. And then
Yeah,
I was
that could be
like,
good.
yeah, I was like, yeah, sounds good, man. Like, cool, just fix it. Like, I was like, I literally don't care how you do it, just fix it. And in the end, when he went to there's a bit where he has to like drill 2 holes in a bit of bone that he chopped off.
Sure.
So he chopped off a bit of bone from my collarbone and then reattached it to my shoulder socket. And when he did that, the bone cracked. So he was like, Scheisse. And I'd already told him, like,
Were you awake?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
No,
what do you
no,
mean
no.
you just told them?
I wasn't. I told him beforehand. I was like, I don't give a shit what you do, just fix it. And he was like, oh, so if I need to like open you up, can I do that? I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Like, fuck it. So I've got a massive scar on my shoulder now. But speaking of surgeries that you have while awake, have you ever had a vasectomy before? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Were you awake for yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about the weather the whole time.
Yeah, I was having a really fun conversation, and then I asked him. He's like, "Oh, here, there's one done," and he holds up a little tube in the little
Yeah.
thing, and I was like, "Can I take a picture of that?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was
Mine-
like,
yeah.
"Can I take it home?" And he was like, "No."
We don't have those kind of doctors in the States out there holding
No.
up your fucking tube. That's
Oh
fucking
no, he
weird.
was just like, "Here it is," and I was like, "Oh, cool."
I didn't want to see that
So
shit.
I have the thing where I've had like a few teeth taken out,
Yeah.
like molars and stuff, and I've always taken them home with me, and I've always said that one day I'm going to fake my own death. And I'm just going to leave the teeth there. So
This podcast is taking an exciting turn. Maybe we do just stay here. Let's order some pizza and some tequila.
So I thought, like, why not get some tubes as well to go with it? But he said no, they have to go off a biopsy. Apparently,
That's so funny.
I got the results of that back recently.
How was it?
There was absolutely nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
They were completely. They were given the A-OK. I don't know what they were checking for.
Vasectomy and LASIK. 2 greatest
Ooh,
decisions.
You have to be awake for LASIK.
You have to be awake.
I'm
You have to be
scared
awake for
of
LASIK.
I wear contacts. I can't do LASIK.
I know, I did too. And I finally was just like, fuck it, I'm out.
That like, I was scared of.
Dude, it's
putting-
easy now. My wife did it 4 years after me, and she was in and out. She was an outpatient. She went in, it was 20 minutes, and she drove home.
What?
That's
Yep.
fucking scary.
I swear to God.
They should not allow that.
No, they're like the new tech apparently. I mean, I don't know, but she drove home,
They're still
and she was
shining
fine. They
lasers
told her.
in
They
your
told her
eyes.
she could drive home.
Did they at least do like
When-
a little, like,
when I
you know,
did-
how many fingers am I holding up?
I have no idea I was in there, but I know when I did
Oh,
it.
so you just let her drive home? You were just like, yeah, baby, you got
probably
it.
at an event.
No, I wasn't there. I was not in the same city. She had just been like, yeah, they told me I could drive home, and I'm like, but you should probably just ask you. Yeah, you should probably like ask your brother or something to like pick you up. And she was like, no, they said it's fine.
Okay.
I was like, all right, well, and she made it home.
So you did your due diligence. So at that point, it was like, Jesus, take
as
the
much
wheel.
as I could have from the other side of the world.
Miles away. Yeah.
But when I did it, I was out of commission for like 3 days. Like I literally could not open my eyes for 48 hours. Like you could like open it,
Jesus.
get a sense of what was going on. I had to have like my mom was around, like just basically like straight up take. But I mean, after that, it's fucking great.
No thanks.
Yeah,
Just like my hair.
it's like
transplant.
magnifying glasses.
All right.
All right.
Let's get out. I need to go eat.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
want to eat anymore. Thank you, Grant, for your time.
You're welcome.
We can't save North American Counter-Strike.
We didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, but we tried.
We did our best.